hour. Welcome everybody to the Dave Plus Wrestling live stream. I'm your host David Lee,
and I'm Howard Albanese.
Finally back. All right,
back together again, guys.
How has everybody been?
I know that I've been pretty good. I know that I've stolen some of the people from your live stream and got them over on mine. So,
Vinny Montana. Well, you can't steal them if they come back here. That's not stealing. That would be borrowing.
I borrowed a few.
Degenerate. Logan Brown, what's up? What is up, everyone? Checking out the live stream. Very glad to see. Either you guys were prepared, or it's good to see that the notifications are working again.
Yeah, I hope that that's the case.
They are.
Yeah.
What's up, Base Up 12? Super Ermac. Oh, that's right. It's A-Train and Dave. Wait, A-Train. Yeah.
I guess so.
How do you feel about being A-Train?
I could be somebody worse.
Not too bad. How was yours, Naheem? How was everybody's weekend?
Yeah.
How's it going, Zach Rowe? Tim Castillo? Can both be a fan of Albert and Dave. Yes, see? And he knows.
Thank you, Vinny.
Okay. The Shane heel turn was as predicted. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. As predicted. Anthony Diamante, guest on Friday's show. Thank you for being here again in the live chat.
TJ, why do you always assume that somebody's going to argue with me?
Hey,
somebody will, but why do you assume that?
Because he knows that you are an argumentative guy.
Maybe.
Sup, True Sinister, Cody Omega.
Cody was in my live stream.
That's
right. Everybody's going to get called up on you.
No. We are not the Rockers. And if we are, I am Janetti, and he is Al Snow.
Whoa!
I'll Al Snow and you be Janetti. Either way. It's the only way I'll accept it. All right, who's going to help? Yeah.
It's because... TJ, I have to change that. The Albanaxis doesn't roll up the...
Yeah, or what?
Well, thank you, Cody. I appreciate that. Dave wants to, you know how you have the Know-It-All Nation?
Yeah.
He wants to start calling my group of followers the Albanax. I just don't know how I feel about that. I need a better... something that rolls off the tongue better. I'm sorry, TJ. I know...
Base Up says you have an argumentative face. Albanax.
Maybe. Harlem Heat in the Hall of Fame. Yes, 100% they're worthy. Why is it even a question? Why are people bugging out about this?
I don't know. As I said, Drew Carey, everybody gets in the Hall of Fame. I don't care now. If you ask me anybody, I'm like, yeah, sure, put him in there. Why not?
Well, I mean, TJ, Cody, they'll know that, you know, when they were in my live stream, I talked about Torrie Wilson. This was before, obviously, Harlem Heat was announced. And my whole thing is that everybody's like, well, there's more people that deserve to get put in before them. They'll get there eventually.
But that's also not how the Hall of Fame works. You have a headliner, and then you have others.
So I can put it to a WrestleMania card. Like you can't have every match be main event. Like you can't what if this year was about, you know, what this year's Hall of Fame was DX, the entire Hart Foundation. I'm trying to think of who else that everybody is buzzing about. Oh, Victoria.
Base Up, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Thank you. You are always so kind and generous with the super chats every time you come on. Thank you, Base Up. Base Up 12. Thank you so much. Naito just lost to Ibushi. What's going on in New Japan? Well, I think they're shaking it up. Ibushi has been kind of delayed a little bit, seeing the fact that he wasn't as New Japan accessible as probably they would have liked, but things are changing now. And Naito's been having a good run. It's not that he hasn't been, but I think they have bigger plans for Naito going forward.
Yeah, I think that with Ibushi committing a lot more to New Japan, he's going to be given a lot more opportunity. I think he would have been given a much bigger opportunity when he first came back, especially after the Cruiserweight Classic. Yes. But there was just never, you know, that commitment. And I think now that he's working for them a little bit more, maybe he's given them a little bit more of a commitment. You're going to see Ibushi maybe shoot up the ranks a little bit. I think Naito's the next guy in line to be champion.
No, Anthony, it's cool that you like seeing Mrs. Dad around. I am not bugging, just asking my man. Okay, cool. Thank you, Razorblade. You were awesome as well. What about the Albaholics? Interesting name. Dave, could you answer Ben's question? He's been spamming this since Friday. What did Ben ask? Well, he redacted it, so I can't tell. Or retracted it, whatever you want to call it. I actually don't know the difference between redacted and retracted. Hey, Dave, ever thought of doing a video, what if ECW had never existed?
That would be horrible. Me and Dave would both be a lot... Me and Dave probably wouldn't even be here right now because I probably might have fallen out of wrestling.
Yeah, because I was thinking, I mean, right around the time that, you know, right around 1995 was when I was growing into adolescence. And so that was like the perfect time for me. It was more, you know, cooler and tougher and more adult kind of wrestling where the new generation was going. And while I still like that, it was the thing that it was the alternate side of the coin. And being from the Northeast also helps too. When you have I mean, I don't know how other parts of the country. I know some parts of the country weren't able to see it, but fortunately, I was able to watch ECW.
Yeah, ECW was one of the main. I liked the WWE. I liked WCW. When I first saw ECW, I was like, "Well, this is it. This is my promotion. I want to see these guys." I love the athleticism. I love the hardcore nature. It was everything that people our age, right around our age group, growing up, needed at that point.
So going back to the other thing, so we're talking about, were they saying that there were people who deserved to get in before Harlem Heat or before Torrie Wilson?
Both. I've had a lot of people, being like, "Oh, well, Demolition isn't in," and
that's fine.
Stop that. You know that they deserve it. Stop that. TJ, did I miss you? I'm sorry. I meant to say that you were there as well, and I very much appreciate you viewing my live stream.
Hey, Dave, Fox Sports wants SmackDown to be TV 14, and if that happens, let SmackDown be TV 14 and have Raw be PG, TV PG. And in that case, everybody wins in that situation. Do you agree that should happen? I've mentioned this before. My thing about it is, AJ, Envoy, I wonder if that's a question you want. And yes, I agree, Naito will be fine. I just think Naito's going on the bigger and better things. It's kind of what I suspect.
I agree too.
But anyway, I've talked about this before. Well, it is possible to have two different products on television. There are some sponsors that don't want to be associated with a brand that goes to TV 14, even if they're not directly sponsoring that show. Some people just look at the company, the organization as a whole.
Right.
So it's like, for example, if you are sponsoring like a baseball team or something like that, and one specific player does something very egregious or does something, very not okay. You could say, well, you're sponsoring the other members of the team. Well, yeah, it doesn't work like that. If you keep that one guy on the team, they still understand that their money's going towards him, and they want him. They either want him going or they're going to leave. I'm not saying it can't work. I'm not saying it can't be done. Sure, that's definitely a possibility. But there is also the very real possibility that a lot of other sponsors are going to be turned off by that, and there's a chance that some major sponsors might leave. Granted, WWE did get $1 billion just for being on Fox, so maybe they won't care and say, well, we could lose this sponsor here and there. But at the same time, WWE, it's never been known to saying enough is enough. They've always wanted more and more, so that could also be a problem. It's just, who do you want to please more? The people who gave you the $1 billion already, or the people who have money yet to give you?
Right. TJ wanted a shout out from you, not from me. Just throwing that out there.
Shout out, TJ!
There you go. Look, I completely agree with what Dave said. My thing is that I feel like, and I covered this on my live stream too, I feel like there's a lot of things that are coming out recently that have really been like dirt sheet things that have been, reported that just particularly speak to a certain audience. We didn't get that, Ty Dillinger was leaving, but we got that now all of a sudden Gallows and Anderson might not re-sign their contracts.
Well, anyone could have guessed that one.
Right, but what I'm saying,
I mean, come on.
And I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that it always seems like it's some sort of like big internet person that everybody wants. It was the Revival. It was the Usos. These are indie guys they want to see in the indies wrestling other guys. Now it's all of a sudden, we want to everybody keeps buzzing about we want a TV 14. More violence, more
That's been going around, and
I just always feel like that's what they're catering to a certain amount of people, to a certain sector of the audience, and I don't know if this is true or not.
Well, base up, yes, I agree. It is too soon for Okada to get the championship back. I
100%
agree with that. But at the same time, I'm going to G1, and if I see Okada win that title, especially off of Jay White, who doesn't belong holding a belt, I will lose my mind.
Agreed.
I will mark out like there's no tomorrow. So while I agree it is too soon, I won't care come Madison Square Garden. I won't care whatsoever.
Listen, I would be so happy for you.
Right. So, well, I completely agree. It probably should happen. Oh, I book it to happen anyway.
What's up, Harry?
Yeah, well, but going back to what you were saying, yeah, when you're talking about the dirt sheets and catering to the internet fan base, well, of course they will. Dirt sheets are the internet fan base.
No, and I get
that.
And I 100% I get that. My thing is that I always feel like that's where I can't get the validity of any of these reports. I don't know if that's true. And I don't see Fox asking for an edgier.
If Alberto Del Rio comes back, I'll lose my mind.
No.
I don't. I've never liked him. He ruined Paige. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, no. Just no. Absolutely no. No.
Well, here's as I specified about supply and demand, a lot of what we see is generates a certain kind of buzz, and that buzz is still tangible, even if it doesn't amount to anything. We still have to remember that the buzz is a real thing in and of itself. These rumors, the fact that they exist means something. False, true, whatever. The fact that they are here and someone might, and the masses may choose to believe them, has a value in and of itself. Dean Ambrose, perfect example. So the Dean Ambrose thing, some people claiming it's definitely a work, and other people claiming it's definitely not. And the reality is, none of you know. Dean Ambrose knows, and that's about it.
And by the way, I know Raw just started, so if Dean Ambrose does, wind up doing what I predict he's going to do and sign his contract after laying out Reigns and Rollins and throw it on Reigns' back and say, I'll see you at WrestleMania, please let us know. Or if anything happens.
But if they delay, yes. Thank you. Yeah, please keep us in the loop. So but my thing is...
We have a TV in here.
Well, we have a TV, just the cable doesn't reach to it.
We have to get Raw in here.
It doesn't reach.
We have to figure out a way to get it in here. Like, there's got to be a way.
I know.
I don't know if we can stream it on there.
Not that I know, but anyway.
We got to figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Anyway, so the fact that there are people who believe in one way or the other, the fact that it creates a buzz, that has a very real tangible value. And it also sends a signal back to the people who make these decisions whether or not they want to go in that direction or not. So let's just say everybody right now starts the rumors that, oh, Dean Ambrose is going to pull a CM Punk pipe bomb leaving angle. Well, that tells if enough people do it, that tells WWE there is a market for it, and then they might decide to go with it. Dirt sheets have ruined the business. I absolutely disagree. A lot of people feel that way, but I don't think so. I think it's just...
I don't think they've ruined the business. I think they've ruined... hey, Jeremy, what's up? I think they've ruined the... he didn't say hello to you. He said hello to me.
I was giving a thumbs up to someone else then. I was giving it up to phenomenal RHCP. Good for you, Harry.
Wow.
Hey, Andre. Hope all is well with you.
Right, that is the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me. Thank you. I'm trying to lose some weight, so that actually feels really nice. So anyway, like I was saying,
haircut.
Well, I dropped the hair too. But so my big thing is that I don't think they've hurt the business. I think it's fans who buy into everything that they say. Takes away from the business, because then we get a whole bunch of people that walk around and think they know better than everybody else when nobody knows except for the people who work backstage.
Clarence Price to troll their fans, and it's worked.
Right,
line on sinker. But don't worry, I know me and I will want to talk about that a little bit later.
100%, yeah.
In terms of dirt sheets, as far as I'm concerned, that's what we need. Ever since. Well, not everyone remembers about this. Definitely did a video on it already. But Vince McMahon obliterated kayfabe, testified, and came right out with it that it's sports entertainment. Ever since that happened, and everyone knew this deal anyway. It's not like this was news for anyone. I've known wrestling was fake or predetermined my entire life. Ever since
when?
My entire life.
No, wrestling's fake.
Oh no, I meant just WCW is fake.
Oh, okay. Because that whole Ronda thing was really weird.
Oh, yeah, right. But when it comes to that...
Because that's not real, though, right? That's a work.
Yeah. No, but she really is Sonya Blade, too. Hey, Dave,
that was a work, too.
Will you ever hire Brian Pillman Jr.? They might. Oh, thank you for the likes, by the way. So, yeah.
I think if he gets enough, more, he gets more experience and stuff like that, I think that he'll definitely be welcomed in.
Yeah, so my thing is that when it comes to professional wrestling, we all knew that kayfabe has been gone. It's not. I like it on screen to maintain on screen. That's personally what I prefer. But anyway, with kayfabe being gone, they had to find new ways to suck people in to get people to mark in. Dirt sheets were perfect because now they can report wherever they want, but because you see it there, you believe it. Same thing with Twitter. Someone says something on Twitter, and then you believe it more so than the character, and you have to wonder: are they tweeting in character, or are they tweeting in their real life? These are the things that were necessary to balance out the equation. So dirt sheets, I think, is a great way to suck people in, and people believe everything. And whether you think so or not, they're using a lot of it. Maybe they sprinkle in a lot of truth, but they also sprinkle in some Some things to derail you, some things to manipulate you, and it works. So whether you want it to, whether you want to feel that way or not, I mean, there are tons of things that you fall hook, line, and sinker. And a bigger part about it is when it comes to those things, the ones that are incorrect or the reports or rumors that are being displayed, you don't remember them. Once you find out they're not true, you just dismiss them and don't remember that. And you only latch on to the ones you have, which is why I've done two videos where it was rumors that should have happened, because if you ever go back to that and you want, that's right, someone did report that was going to happen, and it never did. And so they're kind of fun to watch when you realize, oh, wait a minute, there were these reports that Rusev was going to win the WWE title off of Randy Orton and become an anti-American champion.
That's right.
Oh, wait a minute, that never happened, did it? And then
it's more often that we're getting all of these, all these reports that are more and more wrong each time. But everybody sucks it up so quickly.
Now, the Jinder Mahal thing, I think, is what derailed the Rusev plan. But I personally feel if the Jinder Mahal thing never happened, and if there was more of a buzz behind Rusev getting that belt, we would have seen that happen for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
But they test the waters out there. Rusev WWE champion? Anyone? And then a couple of people are like, hey, and then for the most part, no one cared. And then so they don't go ahead with it.
Right.
But I do think the Jinder Mahal thing was probably the biggest factor.
Clarence,
yes, Richard Lee, that is 100% correct. UFC is fake. WWE.
I agree. Clarence, I mean, it is trolling. It worked. It did lead to something. It led to the fans not getting what they wanted. They wanted Kofi in that match, and they didn't get Kofi.
So far, it seems like no plans to call in tonight, Harry. But yes, but let's go with the dog of that. My problem with this is, while I thought it was brilliant ways of trolling, it was unnecessary.
Sure, most of the stuff that WWE does isn't necessary.
Well, let's start this way. There is, I talked about this on the Royal Rumble radio show, and it is a fair amount of discussion. Does Kofi need anything, and I mean anything, a promo, a match win, anything, to put him in that main event for WrestleMania?
No.
Kayfabe, not kayfabe, does he need anything?
No, I don't think so. I think he's...
No. That is the question that there is. Now, I agree he doesn't need anything. I would like to see him cut one very specific promo, and if they don't give it to me, I'm going to be pissed off.
I agree. I want that,
You already know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Everyone knows what the promo is.
And
so
they
if you
need
do not cut it, I will be pissed.
And I think this is one of those things where New Day stays in the back.
But
this is a spotlight on Kofi. Like, I'd love to see them all come out and be like, Kofi, this is yours. And they walk out and they give Kofi that moment.
Right.
Give him that shot.
But does he necessarily need it? No, they just have to do it.
Yeah.
But there are some who say, well, he needs to win like a #1 contendership match or something along the lines just to say why he's in the WrestleMania main event. This is what some people are doing to get, or some people believe to get him in there, is having him get beat down by the bar. I don't think he didn't attack anyone. Ambrose didn't attack anyone. Okay. I don't think he needed anything. But this is what they're doing. They're trying to really beat him down, oppress him. Unfair McMahon hates this guy. Typical 101 booking for them. That since the Stone Cold era, unfortunately, they've been repeating this formula over and over again, and they're really trying to drive it home. And I don't think it's necessary. Some people say it is. Some people say that Kofi needs this, and if that's the case, fine.
I think that the guys pinned the world champion twice in a month and a half on WWE television in a gauntlet match, in a tag, in a tag match. That to me makes him a top guy.
Real quick, Harry Flynn. I did not know Robbie E signed with WWE.
He did. He did.
All right. This means Robbie E versus whoa.
Yeah,
dream match happens. Okay, next. But thank you for telling me. I did not know about that. So, as a wrestler, right?
Yeah.
Just making sure he's not a trainer or something.
No. He's he signed a developmental contract. I'm assuming that means he'll start in NXT.
Dean Ambrose only wanted to wrestle John Moxley at WrestleMania. Give them his wish.
I agree. I don't understand why that guy John Moxley isn't in WWE.
Or El Generico is my biggest wonder. Didn't he die in a fire or something?
I heard that. Tim, yes, Kofi was only given this spot because Ali was injured.
Whatever.
And look what happened.
He did.
Stone Cold was only given the King of the Ring because Triple H did the curtain call. You guys got to remember, it doesn't make a difference,
And I think Kofi did more with it than Mustafa would have.
I agree. I think Mustafa would have been the first person out of the cage.
No. If Mustafa, let's say, did the exact same gauntlet match, the problem with that is Mustafa's gimmick has been the underdog. We expect that from him, where Kofi was a surprise.
Right.
Second, Kofi has 11 years in the business without getting really getting.
He never got a one-on-one world title match.
Mustafa doesn't have that, so it
not yet at least.
It means more when it happened with Kofi. So I think it's a combination of those factors.
And the fans have been behind Kofi for a very long time. We've always said that
you're right, Jeremy P. But yeah.
Oh yeah, that's that. I thought he was working in a.
It's all right.
All right, fair enough.
But yeah, so.
But yeah, Kofi has had a groundswell of support for years. There's always that section of the audience. Whenever Kofi got close to being on a main event level, they're like, "Oh my God, yes, let's get him in there. Let's get Kofi a title run. He deserves it. The guy's killed it."
There are tons, and yeah, Austin's a great example. There are tons of examples of guys who only got something because someone else, blah blah blah. Sid never would have sniffed the WWF Championship if someone knew how to do business.
He lost a smile.
But who else is there? But you can name countless examples.
I do not watch Sons of Anarchy, Mark. I never have.
There are tons of examples of guys who just were in the right place at the right time, or somebody else wasn't able.
Jinder Mahal was in the right place at the right time.
No.
Look, I know it wasn't anything good. Great.
No, I don't think he was in the right place at the right time. I think Vince McMahon was in the wrong state of mind.
Fair enough. But
there are tons of examples. Now I'm trying to think about it. Because I know there are a whole bunch of other ones where...
See, Tim, you're saying he wasn't good enough back then to earn it, and they're only doing this for PR points. I don't think so.
No, see, because if that's the case, I think Bobby Lashley would have won it. That fits way more than their mold. They put Kofi in, and it was a pleasant surprise. He was over. I say this all the time. When the fans pop for something, you give them what they want. There was a huge amount of buzz for Kofi. Run with it. I agree. I never pictured him as a main event guy. I always thought he was way too skinny and way too small. I never would have paid that. But after that reaction, and it'd be one thing if it was just that Gauntlet match, just that night. But he got over like there was no tomorrow in the Elimination Chamber. It's consistently showing that. Base up. Thank you for the super chat for Kofi. I want to see Biggie. Oh, Bully. I've mentioned that in previous videos.
Yeah, we've said that before.
Biggie is the guy I've been wanting. But you know what? Right now, forget about it. Personally speaking, I'm okay with the momentum. Give the fans what they want. Kofi is hotter than a pistol. Recognize and acknowledge and give that man the belt. Because
and let's face it, let's not just make one guy. If Kofi wins the belt, let's, heel Vince McMahon is like, oh, Kofi won, what? Kofi versus Big E for the title.
I'd be so mad if that happens because I don't want them to split up.
No, but I think that they should
happen.
I think that they shouldn't split up.
That would happen. If they touched each other for the title, that would happen. They would split them up. Big E would go heel. That would happen for sure.
Yeah,
there's no way they don't do that. I want Sammy to be Sammy's I want Sammy to win something and be on TV, but looks like I don't get my wish for.
I've said this for a while. I really like Sami Zayn. I just don't see him as a main eventer. I just don't,
and that's okay.
I didn't see him as a main eventer in NXT.
That's crazy talk.
I thought he was great. He had a great story, but in
NXT for sure. The main roster, fine. I understand it.
And just think about it. He was only champion. He was really one of the shortest reigns as heavyweight champion there. And it was because he got it was like a Lifetime Achievement Award, and then he got it, and then KO took it.
But that's fine.
And look, I don't dislike Sammy. I just think he's a really good intercontinental contender.
I do too. But if you want to say main event, he doesn't end up a main roster. Okay, I can understand that. I don't necessarily agree, but I can understand that. But even there's certain people in NXT. It was a surprise. The guy was over there for a while. Super over.
Yeah.
And if you could buy Johnny Gargano, well, I know he didn't win it, but if you could buy Johnny Gargano on the main event scene, Sami Zayn easily belongs there. If you could take Ciampa and Gargano and say they belong in the main event, then Sami Zayn easily belongs.
I think
are they better wrestlers than Sami Zayn? Yes, they are. But
and I think they both have better personalities than he does too.
That isn't completely.
That's my opinion.
Ciampa, yes. Gargano, no. Gargano's most amount of personality is the fact that he has the best concussed face in the business.
I like the heel, this sort of heel Johnny Gargano. I liked Johnny Gargano. I always thought Ciampa was the star of that team. I've liked Ciampa since Ring of Honor. That's been me. But
they were abducted by aliens. Yes, Richard. Now that makes sense. A mask would. Yeah, I like Ciampa and Gargano too, but. I like Johnny Gargano.
And I'm heartbroken that Ciampa's got to give us a belt. It's killing me. Gargano's my top 3 favorite guys in WWE overall right now. I loved his work. I loved his feud with Gargano. I loved his feud with Dream. I loved his feud with everybody he's in the ring with. He's pulled something amazing out of all of them, including who did he face at the last pay-per-view? Why am I drawing a blank?
I don't know.
Wait, it just happened. Why am I missing that?
Just with garbage can.
Oh, fair enough.
Um,
Oh, it was Alistair. And he pulled a great feud out of Alistair Black, too. Which, look...
yeah.
No, I'm saying...
I was just saying, make it sound like that's an effort.
No, Alistair Black is phenomenal in the ring, you know?
I like Sami Zayn better than Aleister Black. I know Aleister Black looks more the part, but...
I think that's...
Sami Zayn's a better wrestler than Aleister Black.
You just don't like strikers.
That's true.
Yeah. Even though Sami Zayn's finisher is a strike.
Which it should be. Say it all the time. Blue Thunder Bomb and Helluva Kick, just reverse them. Like, just please switch them.
Well, like Zack Ryder with that neck breaker on the Rough Rider?
Well, my big... I said this in the last live stream, but my thing for Sami Zayn...
Wow, reasonably, that's...
The Blue Thunder Bomb. When he picks up Kevin Owens for a Blue Thunder Bomb and he does it with ease,
yeah.
How does that not tell you this needs to be his finisher?
Yeah, I know.
It's one thing if you only do it to little guys, but he doesn't do like Kevin Owens and you're like, okay.
I love the celebration every time he hits it, too. Like, he hits it, he lands it, and he's like, every single time, like, he's so happy he did it.
And he's not a pure striker. I will point out Cesaro does strike a lot more, so it's not like I'm completely against him. He does have a fair amount of strikes in the game.
Yeah.
And like, while I don't like, and I said this also as well, while I don't like strikes as finishers, the Swiss Death is one I tolerate because he throws him up in the air and like, okay, I believe that looks painful enough that I'll take it. There's enough jumping and crap in it to shut me up.
Fair enough.
I'd rather it just be the neutralizer, but if you're gonna give me one, that's one that I'll let go.
Fair enough.
Meet in the middle, I also tolerate because there's two of them.
Wow, Razorblade, you are the biggest Sami Zayn fan I've ever seen in my entire life. He said before that he would go full home run for Sami Zayn any day of the week. He also said he was better than Bret Hart, which is sacrilege on this show. Yeah. 5 of my top 100 favorite matches ever include Sami Zayn. That's got to be an interesting list.
I'm sure 5 of my top 100, but then again, I've never calculated 100. But
I can't say 5 of my top 100.
I guarantee that I bet I can't guarantee 5, but it's 100.
Even out of 100. You know how many matches there's been?
Yeah, that's fire. But even so, Brett's definitely going to be a more. Brett's in like 5 of my top 10 by.
Oh no, Brett's going to be. Brett and Jericho are going to be most of my list, but
so having 5 of my top 100 means nothing. It's like, okay, great.
Yeah.
Lashley versus Lesnar. I forgot he has the belt.
I'm cool with that. After if he loses it to Seth, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, but that rumor has been around. It's a dream match that some people want, so I say give it to him. But I could care less. But I could care less about anything Brock Lesnar does.
Yeah.
My sister had me looking for new chairs, and we needed to look at everyone for 10 minutes.
Is that why you're late, Arthur? I'm sorry.
There are certain people, and by certain people I mean everyone, that I refuse to go furniture shopping with. It's not. First of all, I don't really believe in it. I just say go to IKEA and find whatever you can, just go home. And then after you get the meatballs. But
of course,
I have one friend who. It was a torturous nightmare. He would stop and say, and it wasn't even for him. He said, you have to stop and say, what does this piece say about the room? I'm like, did you really just say that? Are you kidding? I'm like, dude, I need to stab you, man.
That's at the point where I would super kick that guy.
I couldn't believe it. He was serious. He wasn't kidding around. At first, I thought he was like being a goofball, but then I'm like, oh, he means this. And he's not an interior decorator or anything like that. It's not like he does that for a living.
But what is it? That's that new thing on Netflix. Like you're supposed to like hug it and like think it's
this
memories and like throw it away.
This was years ago. This was over 10 years ago.
That's crazy talk.
So it was before all this like flip my house and all that stuff. Like things were popular. Gagne Club, Byron, what is going on? Dude, he would no matter what. This guy's hysterical because he would always bring up Vern Gagne as the answer to everything, and he would find ways to make a cohesive argument. Captain Marvel is now Shazam. One of them is. Zayn should join the bar.
Yeah.
What about Nikki Bella versus Asuka at Mania? Wouldn't hold my breath on that one, but hey, anything's a possibility.
I will put it to you this way. I would much prefer to see Nikki Bella versus Asuka at WrestleMania than I would Asuka versus Lacey freaking Evans at WrestleMania.
I'll take that over Mandy Rose.
I take Mandy Rose over that too.
What? No way. Lacey Evans over Mandy Rose.
Ugh, Lacey Evans is awful.
Have you seen Mandy Rose wrestle? I mean, we're talking about the same person here, right?
Yeah, but she's very easily distracting.
Yes, that is true.
So I can give it, like, I'm not really, like...
Lacey Evans is easily the better wrestler of the two.
I don't think Lacey Evans is as good as everybody gives her credit for.
She isn't. She's just better than Mandy Rose. That's
all right.
What I'm trying to say.
Okay,
it's a very low bar I'm setting.
Listen, Mandy Rose has the same finisher as Tommaso Ciampa, so, you know, she's all right. Yes, thank you, Harry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say that Lacey Evans is great. I'm just saying she's
Oh, no,
better.
I heard people, like, tell me, like, she was on the indies before she came to WWE.
Mike really likes Lacey Evans.
I don't think she offers anything. I've been saying this for a long time.
I don't either.
I didn't see it in NXT. I don't know where.
Mike likes her look. Like, she's a believable, physical, imposing.
Yes, no, she has good size. She has Charlotte size.
That's what Mike likes.
Other than that, that's where it ends. The Great Khali had a great size. Remember that guy?
Yeah, but he couldn't move. Like, I'm notoriously harsh on Sasha Banks because my thing is I don't like that she can't really pick people up.
And the same thing with Daniel Bryan with you too.
Yeah.
I get that.
So it's I'll give Lacey Evans that. However, like another problem I had with Sasha is, and I still like Sasha Banks, is in the early days of NXT when she did the double knee stuff, like she didn't weigh enough to go through all the time. So sometimes they wouldn't really fall down right. I'm like, is it because she's that light?
Maybe. Oh, Razorblade, I agree with you there. Daphne is ridiculously underrated. I was a big Daphne fan.
Well, Base Up, I like Daphne too. Base Up, yeah, it'd be interesting if she's on Total Divas, in next season.
Oh God, I hope not.
I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be. Dana Brooke. So Dana Brooke was another one. I didn't really like Dana Brooke. She couldn't really wrestle, but she was strong. And
yeah, she was believable, but I thought she was awful.
Yeah, don't get it twisted. I'm not trying to say that either of these ladies are great wrestlers. I just know that they're strong, and that has a value to me. It has an intrinsic value, strength. So,
Dave, you should check out my second live stream that I did about me adding a fourth brand to WWE. You should go back and watch that. It was a pretty good, solid show.
All right. Maybe I would have seen it if you told me you were doing it instead of just springing it up.
I know. Well, you don't follow me on. You don't have a Facebook, so it's kind of.
You have my phone number.
Yeah, you're right. I should text you next time I'm doing it.
Why isn't Daphne in the Hall of Fame? You mentioned that, but yes, I'm a big Daphne fan too.
I don't think Daphne.
I would love, if it was possible, Daphne Nikki Cross dream match.
Oh hell yeah!
And I really like Nikki Cross too. Let's just start there. I need to throw that out there. I'm a huge Nikki Cross fan. She's not. She's close. I'm trying to think. Is she my favorite female wrestler as a wrestler?
Nikki Cross?
I think it's still Becky. I still think I like Becky more. I did like Becky Bailey too, and I think a lot of people sleep on Bailey.
A lot of people sleep on Bailey.
A lot of people told me that Bailey, like when I did my Bailey video, a lot of people were like, "Oh, she's terrible." I'm like, "Are you crazy?" But there's always people who say someone's terrible no matter what. So I've just kind of.
I think everybody has their favorites. I think that's fine. You're allowed to have your favorites, but it doesn't mean that other people suck.
Francine, really nice person in real life.
Francine was phenomenal for what she did, and this was the argument against Tori Wilson. They were like, "Oh, she doesn't deserve it." No, Francine didn't wrestle either. But Francine was integral to the success of ECW, the head cheerleader.
Well, Tori Wilson wrestled, and Francine wrestled. I mean, I know but they kind of wrestled. I mean, it's nothing compared to what women do today. But
of course, and that's the thing. It was a different time, and that's the point that I was pointing out. Tori Wilson got eyes on the product, and guys. And
here we go with that again.
No, they did. And, this was at here's my big thing with Tori Wilson. We're talking about Sunny's a perfect example. Same reason why Tori Wilson's in there. She brought she brought eyes to the product, and maybe it wasn't new eyes, but nobody was leaving. Nobody was flipping the channel when Tori came on, because it was a different, wrestling back then. My thing is, this is my thing about Tori. Women were using a different role.
Yeah.
And for the role that she was used in,
Tori Wilson, Arthur, man, dude. No,
not even.
No.
I like Tori.
I do too.
I don't think she doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Are there other people more deserving? Sure, maybe there are, but that doesn't mean that they have to get it right now.
Everybody gets in the Hall of Fame. Who cares? I don't care. If you told me there was a janitor for WWE who's been their janitor for like 20 years, and I don't even know who he is, and you say they want to put him in the Hall of Fame, I'm like, oh, go right ahead.
I wanna take a look at
Inanimate Carbon Rod. Go right ahead. I don't care. Everybody gets in that Hall of Fame. People who never even worked for the company. Screw it. Put everybody in. It doesn't matter.
So I want to give you a list, and I want to give credit where credit is due. Is Shelton Benjamin on Raw tonight? Because I feel like 3 people have said this. Just asking a question. So a friend of mine, after we talked about
Melina should get in. Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
I don't know when that's gonna happen, but
by the way, Brie Bella announced her retirement. Can we have a moment of silence? All right, moment's over.
Remote unengaged.
So he said, all right, you have the Bulldogs, Midnight Express, Nasty Boys, Public Enemy, Edge and Christian, and they do
legal problems.
Another. I'm getting there. He was like, and you do it. You do another guy who was already in.
Well,
I don't think that should be a barometer by which we're looking at, why people should or shouldn't be in. The Harlem Heat deserve to be in.
After the Bulldogs, who else was there?
Midnight Express, which I agree with, but I think that also means that they probably have to induct, what's their name? Jim Cornette, and he's always not on the best of terms with WWE.
They're not in?
The Midnight Express? I don't believe so. The Rock and Roll Express are.
Oh, okay.
The Nasty Boys?
No, hold on, Peter, are you crazy?
Exactly, and that's what I said. Public Enemy, again, good ECW tag team. Over Harlem Heat.
Whoa, good? Easy on the whole good word here, pal.
If it wasn't for the Dudleys.
They were entertaining.
Yeah, okay.
They're not good wrestlers.
Oh, okay. I think we're going the other way with that. I was like, if it wasn't for the Dudleys, they probably wouldn't even be relevant. I don't know what you're talking about.
They're not good wrestlers by any stretch of the imagination. Like Harlem Heat is by far a better wrestling tag team than any of those guys. If you want to use the WCW argument, fine. But fine. I use that argument all the time. If you want to say, okay, well, they never wrestled in WWE. Okay, that's true. But keep in mind,
there's so many guys that are in right now that haven't.
And and that's the counter argument to that. But I don't like that. But what are you going to do? Sting shouldn't be in. Goldberg shouldn't be in.
Goldberg actually won 2 world titles in WWE. I mean, look, if you're going by that barometer, at the very least, he actually belongs in there more than Sting does.
He had a year and like a couple of matches.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you.
That's ridiculous.
But at the very least, he won 2 world titles.
I understand your point, more so than others, but he still doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame, if this was a real Hall of Fame. But it's not, so who cares? My other thing is, WWE does have a criteria for their Hall of Fame. It's not a hard and fast rule, but there is a criteria for their Hall of Fame that a lot of people don't realize. They like spacing it. When you have a main eventer, or the top guy or the big headliner.
Look, it's the same reason.
They also don't like having more than one, or they don't like having too many dead people in.
Right, I said that too.
So you can't put the Bulldogs in because
they're both dead. Problem. And Dynamite doesn't want to be in. Dynamite said he doesn't want to be in the Hall of Fame.
Macho didn't either, but
fair enough. I'm saying now Dynamite's dead, maybe they could do that.
Yeah,
I also think they're waiting on Bulldog to induct the entire Hart Foundation in together. I have that feeling that's what they're doing.
I would love it because it means Brett gets to be in a bunch of times, but I don't think so.
No, Harry, I don't think Big T, Ahmed Johnson, is going into the Hall of Fame.
I think eventually, but also, who was it just saying? Or was that it? Just those 3 teams, or was there another team?
He said Edge and Christian, and they definitely do deserve it, but Edge is already in.
Yeah, they will. I would like Christian to get in on his own as well. I don't know that will happen.
Christian absolutely deserves it. I mean, more than...
Yeah, but they don't like Christian. They made it very clear they don't
Vince doesn't like Christian.
Yeah, well, whatever. Well,
Vince hates Christian. Problem. Vince hates Christian's face.
No, that's a problem.
He looks like a rat!
So, and I do think that as time goes on, once they start getting really, really thin with the names, a lot of people right now will start getting in that right now in question.
And look, it's going to happen eventually.
I'm not saying I agree with WWE's criteria. Oh, and they also don't want to have too many women. They also don't want to have too many minorities. They want to take the groups that they don't have a lot of and spread them out, try to trickle them in a little bit at a time. That way they don't burn themselves out. They don't want to put 2 divas in from the diva eras because then 10 years from now, they might not have any.
Right, that's why Trish and Lita went in separate years.
Right.
This is the first year, and this is what everybody's like bitching about Tori Wilson going in. This is the first year we have 2 women going into the Hall of Fame.
And again, I don't care. The Hall of Fame is a joke, and I'm not pulling a honky tonk Larry Zbyszko because I'll tell you right now, if they want to induct me, I'm going in. I'll be happy.
The honky tonk man going in is huge for me.
But I'm just saying there are a lot of people.
I know. I just love the
as long as you know. So I'm just throwing it out there. There are a lot of people who have said things to the contrary, and yeah, I'll get in, but it doesn't matter because everybody gets in.
Right, and that's the same thing as Billy Gunn said. Oh, I probably wouldn't have gone in if China didn't go in. Yeah, I think you would have.
Jannetty, with the Shawn Michaels speech was hysterical. He said, "Hey, you're invited. You want to go? Well, here's the thing. It'll cost me $28 in cab fare." So he just stayed home. I thought that was the best answer. I was like, "You're amazing." Is Keith Lee only? She should be. I think she will be too.
She's not,
but she will be down the line. I think. That was the best answer.
$28 in cab fare. I didn't know that.
Oh man, that was the best answer.
I didn't know that. That's so great.
My favorite interview, like one of my favorite interviews ever.
Oh no, that's so good.
Now, how is she going alone? I think so, and I think he has a good chance of it.
I think he will eventually.
Eventually, Jazz should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Should she?
Yeah.
Years ago. I like Jazz, but again, I understand that they have their unspoken criteria.
Right. And they're going to keep it that way.
I cannot stress enough, I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying it seems to be what they want to do.
A friend of mine was like, they should do a WCW guy and an ECW guy like every year. And I was like, after year 7, you run out of ECW guys. And I love ECW. But you get past the Rob Van Dams, Tommy Dreamers, Taz's, Sabu's. Even if you want to include him, not that he's, even though he's persona non grata in WWE, franchise Shane Douglas, Bam Bam Bigelow.
What's up, Counters Live Wrestling?
Maybe Sandman. Maybe if you really want to make a stretch, Mikey Whipwreck. Who else do we got?
Yes, you do.
Who else do we have?
Well, I would like Beulah in.
Sure. I mean, if you want to go with that route, sure. Beulah and Francine should both be in there.
New Jack.
Then what?
New
Jack would never get in the WWE Hall of Fame.
No, but if we were doing a Hall of Fame, I'm putting New Jack in.
Oh, no. No. Okay, and Base Up said Mike Awesome. If we're doing an ECW Hall of Fame in general, sure. Awesome. Anybody who won a world title.
This is what it is, though. It's everybody. That's all WWE's Hall of Fame is just shove everybody in it, even people who no one ever heard, people, guys who didn't even wrestle in the century that no one's ever heard of. They do put everyone in.
They have what is that, like a Legends wing?
Yeah, they did that now to cure everybody complaint, just like the celebrity wing. But still, Ronnie Garvin for Hall of Fame? Yeah, now that's a legitimate answer, though.
Really?
Rugged Ronnie Garvin? Yes, it is a legitimate answer. He wrestled for WWF. He belongs there. And, yeah, Ben, how come you keep deleting your comments? I can't. It might take me a while, and I may miss some, but if I can...
Yeah, you got to stop rejecting your comments, or we're never going to get to them.
Razor, what's up?
Yes, D'Lo Brown deserves it. I don't care what anybody says. I love D'Lo Brown.
I will be...
Yeah, I agree.
Paige I thought was going in this year, too.
I think Paige deserves it.
I really thought they were going to pull that where Paige goes in this year for sure. Unless they're holding out the chance that she might wrestle again.
I hope so.
Steve Williams. You know who needs to be in? Dr. D, the guy who punched John Stossel in the head. Man, ruined his career for you just to try to keep kayfabe alive. Maybe you put him in a Hall of Fame. Give him that at least.
Yeah, throw the guy a freaking bone.
And he's actually a really smart, intelligent guy. Like, have you ever heard interviews with Dr. D?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like he knew he's ruining his career by doing this, but he felt that's what he had to do.
Yeah.
So you know what? Yeah, Dr. D, how about that? We want to really start this Who Belongs in the Hall of Fame? Well, I'm going to start this campaign right now. Dr. D goes in because he punched John Stossel in the face for you, and then he got nowhere afterwards. So yeah, Dr. D, put him in. There's the thing I'll complain about.
We have a Dave Knows Wrestling Hall of Fame? Can we do this, like me and you? Do like a full-on, induction for who we feel should be in the Dave Knows Wrestling Hall of Fame?
How often do we induct, and how many people? Because I believe a real Hall of Fame should have this thing called criteria. But
well, that's what we have to discuss. We'll discuss the criteria.
And how often are we inducting?
I don't know. We can do it every 6 months.
Because I don't want to wait 20 years before I get a good, sizable working number.
We do it every 3 months if you wanted to. Just the Dave Knows Wrestling Hall of Fame special.
Joey Styles, absolutely.
Yes, agreed. And we should do that. We should do a commentator. We should do a
But
manager.
I want to do it every time because I only have like 5 commentators I want to put in.
So maybe we should do a commentator.
So I can't do it every year.
Right, no, it wouldn't be every year. Maybe we do a commentator wing.
Because I do think there
and
should
we
be
announce that.
I think there should be one where, well, I think it's self-explanatory. Like, we put Jim Ross, I don't think anyone's going to say, as a wrestler? Like, I think everyone knows why we're putting him in.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, Jerry Lawler, fine.
Right, he would probably go in as
both. Yeah, and the thing is, I would put Benoit and I don't care.
Hell yeah, Benoit.
Absolutely.
Well, here's the thing. I think we should do this. We should do a criteria. We should film it. We should wear suits. We should film it.
Where would we do it here?
Do it here. We'll put it. We'll do it in front of the green screen. We'll put some. We'll put the WWE Hall of Fame thing behind us.
That wouldn't work, homie. You are fine, but that one is screwed. What?
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I read that very slowly because I don't even understand. I feel like Arthur fell asleep on his keyboard. Nikki Bella, Nikki Bella for Hall of Fame. But Nikki didn't announce her retirement, huh?
Right.
Doing on this promo for Chris Benoit. I've thought about it several times, and I don't even know what. I don't even know where.
Here's the difficult.
I have really thought about doing it for like April Fool's Day, and the video is just me going, nope, and walking away, and it just like stays blank for.
This is the difficult thing about Benoit. I love Chris Benoit, the athlete. I love Chris Benoit, the wrestler. I love Chris Benoit, the performer. It's very hard to separate true life,
not for me,
from pro wrestling to do an honest promo.
Oh, yeah.
Like that. You know what I mean? Like, in my opinion, Chris Benoit, for the contributions he made to the wrestling business, deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I can very much separate the fact that, yeah, you know what? Look, look at all this stuff that's coming out now. We're taking away Michael Jackson's music. They're going to go after Elvis next. We're removing certain things from our livelihood because certain people might have been bad people. People are bad people. That doesn't take away their talent.
Arthur, well, you love her personality because you love Mariah Carey, so keep it up. And I think we all know that your taste is the one that makes no sense. Didn't you say earlier somebody was better looking than someone else and it was completely incorrect? Oh, Jenna. Yeah, you said Jenna was better looking than Tori Wilson. You're just pure craziness.
A human blow pop?
He says Alexa Bliss is a human blow top because she has a weird posterior. I don't quite get it 100% myself, but
I think she has a nice butt.
Arthur doesn't think so. He thinks
Arthur, that's a very, very small thing that we disagree on.
5 Feet of Fury.
Yes, no. Base up, I will make sure that Dave inducts Shawn Michaels.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
Dave will be the one to open the envelope and read it.
Under no circumstances would he be allowed in.
Oh, of course he belongs there.
No, he does not.
The impact alone on the business makes him belong there.
You mean the fact that he almost put WWF out of business? Yeah.
I remember that WWE starting to heat up when he was...
People talk about a lot about criticism and how it affects things. I have a video coming about criticism, and I wanted to just completely go into it, but I didn't. I behaved myself. But yeah, I think bad criticism is, or good, criticism that's inaccurate, it sways people. Let's be honest. Opinions are always opinions. They're not real. Ben, leave that comment up. I will read it momentarily. Opinions are opinions. There's no fact, no matter what anyone wants to say. But when we started making criticisms a narrative, people start aspiring towards that criticism. And when recently WWE has perpetuated the idea that someone's the best, and it's not true because there's no such factual base, it makes people go to that. And when people start following in that direction, it hurts the industry because we looked at guys like Dolph Ziggler who have never been aggressively on the tear because they copied someone else's playbook. It hurt his career. Sami Zayn, it hurt his career. We could go down the list of people whose career has been damaged by putting someone on a pedestal. Anyway, hey Dave, what are your thoughts on Brie Bella retiring from in-ring competition? As Jim Ross said when Paul Heyman was fired after 2001 Survivor Series, good riddance. Oh, jeez.
We got more water and damn.
Here's a question I have for Harry. How do you feel about Brie? I know.
Yeah, that's actually Harry. What do you feel about Brie?
Harry, you over Shawn Michaels any day of the week. But yeah, so Harry, yeah, how do you feel about Brie? Her retirement, I feel like she retired a long time ago. The fact that she didn't is kind of surprising to me. I don't care. These ain't quite all of a sudden. TJP, Ultimo Dragon, and Chris Jericho are my favorite cruiserweights ever. Not a bad list. Razorblade, Benoit Dev changed wrestling for the better with
hanging in there.
Banning of chair shots.
Life.
That's a good point. That did change things. Say Toro Sayama. Oh, is that your new? Is that the new Vern Gagne? I disagree. Who do you disagree
I think
with?
Mark Mason just called me bald.
I don't know why the is wearing. No, Arthur, you were not. I was wondering that as soon as he walked in. I wonder how many of you knew he had tattoos like this.
I'm wearing it because it's the newest wrestling shirt I own.
Bree is meh, says Harry. Okay, I've always been curious.
I really was curious though.
Based on, I have kind of done an episode on steroids. I had one about their WWE's wellness policy, and I did. There's a lot of it that I talk about steroids in it. I wanted it to be an entire episode just on steroids, like what they do to the body, how they work. But then I really didn't want it to accidentally turn into an endorsement for steroids, so I said, you know what, let's just cover the wellness policy instead. But yeah, so the wellness policy video is very, very much a steroid video.
Fair enough.
Because the tricky part is, if you keep talking about steroids and how they work, it sounds positive until you get to the end. And it's like, if anyone doesn't listen to the end, they're like, wow, these things sound awesome. But it's like, when you get to the end, they're like, oh, wait, no. You get to, oh, that's what happens.
And that's,
yeah, the ending is, like, terrible. So you have to wait to the end. So it's kind of hard to talk about it without just sounding like that. So there you go. Honest Pro. My honest pro on Harry Flynn is that Harry Flynn is awesome.
Wow, that was a really good one.
Heavyweight Benoit or cruiserweight Benoit? Either or, I'll take them both. I guess heavyweight Benoit.
Yeah, I lean that way.
However, heavyweight Benoit is the Benoit that did all the crazy stuff that got him that ended badly. So,
AJ, can you expand on that? He said, I hear how our standards as fans dropped in terms of who can be main eventers and who should hold the main world titles.
I understand it. I understand.
Wait, you feel like our standards have dropped? Because I don't think so. I think that
I don't agree with it, but I understand what maybe I don't want to presume on what you mean, AJ Envoy, but I know some people who say like there was a time when wrestlers used to look like wrestlers, but now their wrestlers are like all 5'9" and 190 pounds, and that's a problem to some people. I'm not saying to all.
Well, I guess Base Up said, kind of agrees with you. He said that.
Not all steroids are bad for you. That is true. Like I had the whole episode planned out, and I wrote a lot of stuff about it. And that was one of the things I was going to. But again, I don't want to accidentally turn it into an endorsement for steroids. So I said, nope, we're just going to cover it in the wellness policy. I'm going to get a lot of information out there. But yeah, but yes, I understand where you're coming from. But steroids are a very complicated subject. And the video was looking to be like 20 minutes long, just talking about steroids. And so I also just condensed it for condensing's sake.
Razorblade, I do give you,
yes, Clarence. Clarence, good idea. Sorry.
Jerry Lynn, 100%.
Both of them good ideas, but yes.
Yeah. Wrestlers do look like more people. Here we go. Yes, Albert, our standards have dropped from the influx of indie guys who can wrestle well, but that's it. They can't talk. They don't have great look, and and guys who should open shows are now main eventers.
And that's kind of where I thought you were going with this. But AJ, I understand that point. Believe me, I get it. It's not a super big criteria for me, but I do think size is to a degree is important.
And you by the guys that I like, you can see that that's. I think that wrestlers should look like wrestlers. Sami Zayn's physique doesn't lend itself to me to be believable. But AJ Styles and Finn Balor, on the other hand, look a lot bigger than they're actually presented.
Sami Zayn is bigger than Finn Balor.
Sami Zayn looks like I would if I kind of like once I hit my goal.
Finn Balor is like my size. He's way more ripped than I am.
And that's the thing.
He's my size.
But that's the thing.
No. What the difference is talking about mass, like pure mass.
I'm not talking. It's not. It's an aesthetic. It's an aesthetic. It's not a mass thing. It's an aesthetic.
But Macho and Jericho are not exactly big.
Right, but they
your bar is lower than most people's.
My bar is lower than a lot. Yeah, I agree. But I do like. There is a place in the business for that, and a lot of people like AJ is saying the small.
I agree with him on the mic skills thing because that is something that I notice a big difference in.
There is,
and again, Dusty, I miss you, buddy.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that that people rip on how bad Roman is on the mic when a lot of the guys that they then tout as being like, these are the best guys and they should be champion, are much better.
The major difference is they talk much less. Gargano is garbage on the mic, but he doesn't talk. Well, and that's something else I miss. I miss it when there was a time period where you didn't have to talk.
I do agree with that.
Benoit got over without talking because he was garbage on the microphone.
The thing is that Reigns doesn't have to be there for a long period of time.
I think Reigns doesn't have to talk. And I also wish he had a manager. I also wish they just capitalized. Same reason why I liked Kofi push is because the fans like him. Regardless of how you feel about it, when the fans are booing him, why not make him a monster heel? Give him Heyman and just go full on with it. Have Heyman turn on Brock and go with Reigns. And if they cheer for it, fine. Whatever happens, happens. However fans react, But I say just dive into the pool head first. Because the promos that Heyman would cut if he was representing Roman would have been amazing.
Yeah.
And I also think, here's something else nobody ever talks about. Roman has never 100% distanced themselves from the Shield as much as I think he should have. The costume, the music, but also just in general. It's always been a back lingering thing where I think him, not just because of the dress, but he's least distanced himself from the Shield, where Dean and Seth have more so. And I think giving him Heyman would have been a great way to really separate it. Like when Rollins was with the Authority, that really separated him from. He stopped being the Shield guy pretty easily when he became. I didn't sell out, I bought in, guy, that.
No, I agree. And Ambrose, Ambrose slowly, trickled his way out of there. He just went from wearing fully.
I do like that Mylon's new thing is Satoru Sayama. I think it's amazing that you switched it up on me. Just funny to me. But larger-than-life characters that dominate, I totally understand what you're talking about.
Right, he's like
The Rock.
Razorblade said, I think Johnny Gargano would make a good WWE or Universal Champion. I don't know. I mean, maybe because Brian is.
I
think Brian's doing a good job, but I think Brian's so much better on the mic.
Yes. Oh, he's better.
And I think that's where Brian's skill comes in. Brian as a babyface, as a heavyweight champion, is. He didn't draw for me because it was the achievement. Like, yes, you got there, great. He's better in the chase, but as a heel,
I understand that you don't value this very much. But Daniel Bryan, Johnny Gargano, they do something very well that may not mean much to you, but they generate a lot of sympathy from the audience.
No. I agree with that. I'm okay. I understand that. That's fine.
And I know it doesn't mean much to you because the #1 guy of all time to generate sympathy from the audience was Hulk Hogan.
It was Shawn Michaels.
What, are you crazy? You know that's not true. At least you should know that's not true.
Are you kidding me?
Because I think everyone will admit... Look, for you Shawn Michaels fans out there, I think, and I have no other way to say it, but I think a lot of people would say his best was when he was the chicken shit heel.
Shawn?
Yeah,
probably.
That's what he does. That's
pick a fight and and back up.
Baby, sympathetic baby face. No, it's Hogan easily. 6'7" guy who's like 300 pounds, and yet the fans are feeling bad for him when he's getting beat up by someone half his size. Who pulls that off? Who can pull that off?
I hate Hogan.
Johnny Gargano's really good at it. Why? Because he has that concussed face.
I hate Hogan. All he did was no sell.
He sold, hence why he got sympathy.
No, he no sold everything.
When he was in chokehold, he was selling. That's why the fans.
Yeah, that hurt a lot more than everybody's finisher.
Just saying, that's how people started cheering for him. And I don't hear you complain about the Ultimate Warrior who got it from 7 elbows. When did you go off on him like you go off?
I hate the Ultimate Warrior.
Don't go off on him nearly as much.
He's another one who no-sold. I hate all those guys who no-sold. You're going to give me a guy...
Lex Luger also no-sold. I don't see you complaining about him.
What did he no-sell?
Really? Oh, you know.
What are you talking about?
Okay, all right, fine. We're not dealing with reality today. We're dealing with average fiction.
Luger would never do.
No, the narcissist alone. The week he was a narcissist alone is more no-selling than anyone else for me.
No, it's Luger didn't no-sell. He just didn't know how to sell.
I don't think you're making your case any better here. Hogan always cheating when he was a face.
Hogan always did cheat when he was a face.
How?
Do you know how many of the little boot scrapes to the eyes he would do?
It's not cheating.
Yes, it is. He shortcutted. Also, Hogan was in. Hogan was never booked as a sympathetic babyface, but he was so over it worked.
He knew how to.
How much of a crybaby does he look at Royal Rumble '92?
Well, yeah, I agree. That's
a giant crybaby.
That's one of my best examples of something that I don't understand how this worked. Because you were legally eliminated. You had no right to, and yet the fans were over with it. I was like, how does this happen?
I thought we were friends, brother!
It's the biggest surprise I ever saw. And it's like, it's every man for himself. He's actually right.
It's every man for himself, big boy!
I never understood it. How did Hogan pull that off? I really don't.
I had no idea.
It is, but that in and of itself is like the stuff of legend. Like, he's that good that he got that. They booked that and they didn't even question it. They're like, no, Hogan won't get this over. We're gonna do Ric Flair and Hogan for WrestleMania, right? No, shut up. We're gonna make Hogan get eliminated, and then he's gonna fight Sid. Wait a minute. So Hogan's being a bad guy? No, he's a good guy. Vince, what happened?
Oh, yeah, hold on.
Like, something didn't make sense here. Lashley won the IC title again. What, did he really?
Oh, come on!
Watch his WrestleMania 9 match with Beefcake. I did, and I don't want to again.
Well, against Money Inc., is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, I don't want to watch anything of Hogan WrestleMania 9.
I don't want to watch Hogan ever.
WrestleMania 5.
Yeah, it's only because the other guy that was on the other side of the ring with him is one of the greatest wrestlers in the history of the world.
It's not just that.
Yes, just that. Hogan sucked. I don't care what anybody says. Hogan sucked. So did Warrior.
Starrcade 1997 until the end. Until the ending.
Yeah, thank God for Sting.
Ever stop messing with Dave, or he's dragging you on the string. No, I wouldn't want so many witnesses. Bruiser Brody no sold. Oh, that's you take it. I'm not touching this one.
I hope they're talking about in-ring.
Yeah, he is. No, Mylon is like a very astute guy when it comes to stuff like that. He's gonna.
The thing is that Brody was a monster heel.
Yeah.
Certain guys like that.
Oh, he's a monster too. What are we talking about?
But he was a face.
You know what? Let's bring this up. Let's just bring this up.
But it was a face.
Undertaker no soul. That was the shtick.
But that was his gimmick,
right.
and that's
okay.
fine.
That's okay. I'm not against no selling. That's to a degree.
I hate no selling.
That's not true. Let me take that back. I don't like no selling, but if you're gonna no sell, make it part of your gimmick. I don't like. I can't believe I just said that. Yeah, I hate no selling too, but if it's part of a gimmick, it's okay. So it's okay if Hogan and Undertaker does it, but it's not okay when Kenny Omega does it.
No, I don't think it's. I see. That's the thing. I'm consistent with it.
Undertaker,
but it was a gimmick.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hogan is part of his gimmick, whether you want to admit it or not. He's a superhero.
No, look, no. It's okay to Hulk up. I'm all right with the fact of like, oh, he got such a rush of energy, he's impervious to pain. I got that part. But the no-selling of somebody's finish and always kicking out of it, if that would happen today, they'd be like, they buried their star!
It's all the time, and people clap for it and give it 7 stars.
No, but that's in the middle of like a great match. We're talking about consistent. Like if Lars Sullivan came into the WWE and no-sold everybody's finisher until he got to the main event of WrestleMania, and then no-sold John Cena's finisher.
Dude, your age is showing. Because, yeah, when John Cena started doing it, people started getting mad. Do they get mad about it occasionally when certain guys do it? Yes. But as a whole, no-selling finishers is just a thing everybody does. Finishers don't mean anything anymore.
But the thing is that, all right, look, there's a difference between no-selling and kicking out at the very last second and still selling the move. Hogan didn't even sell the move. Savage comes off the top rope with an elbow. 1, 2.
I've seen the Rainmaker played off like it was a whiff. Okay, and yes, that is his finisher. Let's remember that. So, look, I don't want to keep bagging on that match, but it's really the go-to answer. Kenny Omega and Okada, I'm sorry, that's a no-sell fest, and that's with finishers too. Let's just be real here. The effects of them don't even last seconds. The third Rainmaker of one of their matches, I timed it. I think it was 10 seconds. You didn't even know there was anything that happened. If you fast forward 10 seconds, you would not know what happened.
I agree.
That's the number one.
I hate that too.
But people love that. So
I don't understand.
So when you want to say the internet fans will attack that, they don't. They love that stuff now. Tim Castillo says, "Relax, Albert. Road Warriors, easy, pal. All right, Mylon. All right, easy. Stop.
He's right.
They're better than Demolition, that's for sure.
Whoa!
They are. Since King's Road Style. King's Road Style is, I've done the video on it. It's weird. Because you know how I feel about this. Because if you watch the video, then you're really throwing this back in my face. So I don't want to rehash the whole video. But the thing is, their way of selling or storytelling is different from the American way. It makes sense to a certain degree. It's selling because they're selling the story that they have pre-designated as how story matches go.
I'm not so smart.
And despite my Kings Road style video, I appreciate for what it is. It's not my favorite style. Don't get it twisted. I just respect it for what it is. But if I could replace all wrestling with Kings Road, I wouldn't. Demolition is better. No, they are not. Of course you would think so, Arthur. Now that I expected, I started something. Yeah, because just watch my video on Kings Road, because I explained it perfectly there. I don't feel like that was a long video. I don't feel like rehashing the entire thing. But I understand Kings Road. Kings Road is better than WWE style. It depends on which time period. Because there was a period of time, right now, for me, WWE style is a lot of indie stuff.
The WWE style is basically indie style.
Yeah, because like the over-the-top dives. You know, Miz jumped to the outside yesterday. Like, what is going on here? What universe has I slipped into? I think that was better in a row. That is just crazy caca garbage. I know a lot of people feel that way, and I know this is one of those polarizing things. But yeah, no, I'm a Legion of Doom guy all the way. You want to talk about look? Who's got a better look? The Chubby Kiss guys or the Legion of Doom?
Demolition.
No way. Look-wise, absolutely, those guys were huge. Chicago fighters, muscular, not chubby, round. No way. Absolutely, no questions asked. Legion of Doom, better look.
I was never a Road Warriors fan.
Just talking about the look. Just talking about the look. Just talking about the look. Better look as wrestlers.
Demolition were intimidating.
No questions asked. It's Legion of Doom. If you can't even give me that, then when I see how this is going.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Of Misawa, yeah. Easily, better look, not even a question. Kings Road in All Japan was the best in the 90s. A lot of people feel that way. See, here's the thing. WWF style at the time was, Bret Hart was in the main event at some point in time during the 90s. So I like that style a lot. But I'm a sucker for Canadian stuff, so...
Now, here's the thing.
Someone in the comment section called me. They go, oh, great, just another American-born Canadian again. And I'm like, I will take that. I will not complain.
Yeah, my thing is that, the WWE style
it's changed a lot.
It has evolved from a lot, but there still is a general... They're shying away from what I think made them different than everybody else. It was the drama. It was the selling of a lot.
Yes.
There's a lot of bump and feed now. There's a lot of, big move, big spot, no sell.
And a big part for me about WWE, WWF style is some people complain that it's soft and it's safe. I like that because ring safety is an important thing to me.
I don't like.
But I get not everyone cares about that. But personally, I like safety.
Who was the guy that Dragon Lee dropped on the top of his head at Wrestle Kingdom?
I do.
Hiromu, right?
Yeah, I think so. But
like that's what I'm saying. Like stuff like that happens. I get it. A lot of people, they're like, "Oh, the WWE style is soft." I don't like the WWE style because it's soft. And the thing is that everybody's like, "Oh, well, it doesn't even work because they get injured." No, they get injured because they work too much.
Yes,
that's the reason why they get injured. Their bodies break down because they're working more than the guys in New Japan are working.
Yeah, it's like football is not safe. Let's also remember.
Right, because for 18 weeks out of the year, these guys are slamming into each other as hard as they possibly can.
You're cashing your money in the bank? Briefcase? I didn't know you had one, buddy. Explain Canadian style. What is your description of Canadian style wrestling? Oh, great. I
forgot his name for 3 seconds. Jesus.
What?
Wow.
Who said what?
He said, who is this guy? How do you not know who Hiromu is? Forgive me for forgetting a guy's name for 3 seconds.
No, it's easy, because when you start mentioning major injuries, I think about the injury first, and then I get, disturbed. So, there's a period of time where I couldn't even talk about Sid.
Oh!
I couldn't get it out. I've gone over now, because I've had to bring him up on certain times. Canadian style, I intend to do a video on it for sure, but it's... to simplify it, I would say, Dojin style, where it's a lot of catch, or it's a lot of holds. At the same time, there are holds that really do look like they hurt, because if you do them right, they do, and it's a lot of it's a lot of that kind of science. Then there is a little bit of martial arts in there, but it's mostly catch based, and it's And the science of it is more based off of real detrimental holds that really hurt. So that's the easiest way that I could describe it in basic, but I do want to dive into it. I have one video where I talk about it slightly, but I do want to jump into it more. And also because it's a very direct, almost all wrestling is, but there's a lot of wrestling from Canada that is a direct branch off of British style. So yes, I'm quasi-cheating because I love British style wrestling. I think you guys know that, especially since I have 3 videos on British style wrestling. But then I'm taking that and incorporating some real life holds. So yeah, I'm getting like, I look at it that I get the best of both worlds with Canadian style. And there's also a lot of Japanese influence of Canadian style wrestling too, and Japanese style also influenced by Britain. So you could really make the argument and say that you really just like British wrestling. And you're technically not even wrong. Because if you say all the parts of American, Canadian, Japanese wrestling I really like come from England, that's 100% true. So if you tell me that, no, Dave, you're wrong, you actually like British style modes, you're probably right. But I say Canadian because it incorporates so many variables that I like all together in one. Oh, yeah, right. I forgot I plugged windows, so you can't tell about obviously.
Yeah, I know, it's 9 o'clock.
Portion of his return was pretty bad. Great. Man, Shelton, I love Shelton. He's in one of my favorite matches of all time.
Razorblade, to answer your question, there's not as many as there are men. You know, it's simple as that. After a while, if you want to keep holding that up, and that's the thing. That's why you have to
induct a Hall of Fame with no women.
Right,
we put everybody in.
Right, and that's the reason why there are years where you induct Tori Wilson.
Harry Flynn, that's an interesting comment. That's terrible wrestler.
Yeah,
I don't.
That's a really good one. Actually,
I don't think I agree with that, but I like the idea.
Sid was awful.
Terrible wrestler. Yours is Lex Luger.
Unless
you're in denial on the one.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow, that's a good question.
Yeah, Lex Luger may be my favorite terrible wrestler.
I like that. I like that, Harry. Wow, that's a really amazing statement. Because I have the video on Guilty Pleasures, and
no, Luger's definitely one.
Because I said I liked Ultimate Warrior as a kid, but I grew out of it like really fast.
Ugh.
Granted, a match with Hogan, a match against Hogan will do that for you.
All right, I'm gonna
they might be
do my other show.
They might be done and talking.
Well, if they're done and talking, then I'll use it. But I mean, we'll see what happens.
Because I only had the 3 guys.
I know.
So
guys, YouTube, the Slam Sessions. I've been doing some really good videos. You can ask the people who were there because they're all big fans. They said it was better than being in here, so just throwing that out there. I'm not going to name names.
It's okay. Numbers don't lie.
You're right. I've never had that number. So
what number do you get?
Max, almost directly half of that. That was Max. So I mean, that's not bad. It's not bad for a start.
Start out somewhere.
But
you're welcome, by the way.
You know I know everything you.
Can't find your channel, says Base Up.
Type in the Slam Session, type in AEW afterwards, and usually it pops right up, the video I did about AEW. I gotta ask you YouTube questions one of these days.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, yeah. I gotta figure out how to do that whole thing. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah.
Well, I now give a workshop on it, so.
No, well, then.
And everyone, so far, everyone who's found that out, like, they're like, why didn't I get that? I was like,
take me to school.
I've been doing it in Long Island, too, for a while now, and everyone's, like, really mad about that.
Take me to school, David.
I need it. I think that's why Marty, like, started giving it to me, because he's like, wait a minute, you're doing it on Long Island. Well, let's fix this problem.
Now you're doing it here.
Yeah.
But, yes, please like, subscribe, participate, and share, and all that good kind of junk, and I'll see you guys soon.
If Dana Brooke looks different, I can't see her, so it's the new Universal Champion. I feel like there's no way they're doing all this now. Bonkers.
No, that can't be.
All right. Yeah, I'll hang out for a little bit while Albert does his thing. Especially since you got to check out him on Mixlr, MIXLR.
If it's going to be on, I don't know.
Yeah, right. Never mind. Forget I said that.
FacebookLive.com/the Slam Sessions Podcast Network. You can check me out there talking about football. There we go.
Okay, Dean Ambrose. Becky Lynch is going to be Raw Women's Champion. Yet another awesome angle from SmackDown that they stole and moved to Raw. When are you going to get Steve here and finally introduce him to Helmy? They can't because Steve does another show on Monday nights and Albert only comes in on Monday nights. So, too hard to get them both in. I would like it to happen. If this is off topic, but JFC Live had like 7 people pay for like $10 worth of stuff in nothing but coins. That sucks. Especially since those coin counters are harder to find nowadays. Razor, for every 6 male wrestlers, there's like 1 female, which is why you can't add. Yeah. Yeah, that would be it. Dana Brooke does look different. Also, I definitely didn't expect her to show up. Yeah, I never expect to see Dana Brooke on TV. Onita WWE champion. A lot of people roll about Onita lately. I can list 22 women WWE could induct into the Hall of Fame that are worthy. Oh, sure, and I bet you there's more than that. But again, we can't put them all 22 in right now, because that means next year we won't have any. Or if we start putting if we start putting 3 in a year, 10 years from now we won't have any. So you see, or I know the idea is that new ones will come in, but still, space them out. That's what WWE wants to do with their Hall of Fame, space them out. Because they didn't space them out too well in the beginning. In the beginning, they kind of turbo-loaded it. Now I think they come to the problem where there's not enough headliners. So, space them out. Hey, Okada's a bigger draw than Bret Hart. I get what you mean by that. I don't think that's true, but... And the reason I go by that is comparatively, if you look at New Japan's numbers and compare them to WWF's at the time, WWF still wins. I've never said Bret Hart was a great draw. I just think that he was good enough, was solid enough as a champion to draw, and that proof is right there. So, yeah, but Razor, there's like 80 men. You can list that word. Yeah. Dave, you took the word Bret out of my life. Yeah, no, AJ, that's exactly what I'm saying. We're on the same page for once. Oh, yeah. But you never cease to amaze me. I've gotten bored with Baron Corbin as a wrestler. When did he start wrestling? He's a wrestler now? When did that happen? His match is just oh no, I've been so bored with him since forever. I get that there's an argument for Okada being made as being a bigger draw than Bret. I get it. I understand it. I just don't think so, because when we look at certain things like ratings. Dave, hope you understood my points about the standard dropping. No, I get it. I don't necessarily agree with you, but I very much understand where you're coming from. Yeah, The Rock was a larger-than-life superhero. My reason why I don't fully agree with you, as I said, size, I do have a relatively low threshold for it, and I do have a lot of exceptions to the rule, but size does matter. I do want a guy to have a certain kind of, a certain amount of mass, a certain physique, a certain look. I think that does matter. I do. To a degree. Again, many exceptions to the rule. Like CM Punk really doesn't fit my criteria, but I allow it. Mic skills. CM Punk has that. I get what you mean about a lot of these indie darlings don't have mic skills, but my caveat to that is that mic skills is something that can be taught. As a broadcasting teacher myself, a large part of what I do is teaching it. And I understand that not everyone knows how to speak in front of a camera or on the microphone. Those things can be taught. Sure, some people are better at it than others. Some people have natural talent, and there are some people who they always struggle with it. But overall, it is something that you could be at least taught to be improved. Seth Rollins' mic skills have improved dramatically. Is he as good as, say, The Rock or Austin? Absolutely not. But they still dramatically improved. Triple H, a lot of people forget. Triple H's mic skills were terrible in the beginning. He took a long time to get there. And again, he's not necessarily, the Macho Man or Hogan, but his mic skills have improved greatly. You work on, and I think his mic skills are actually getting bad again, but still, you can work with a guy like that. In terms of the wrestlers being presented as celebrities and superstars and megastars, I think that's a problem with booking. I think booking has relied too much on taking actual celebrities from outside venues, outside talent, and treating them like celebrities instead of focusing on making their own wrestlers celebrities. So I think booking needs to really beef up their wrestlers and say, hey, this guy is a superstar, and here's why. Let's get this guy out there instead of, let's put this guy on Saturday Night Live, on movies, but not to leave us, but just as a thing to remind you that wrestling is mainstream and that this person is a celebrity. I would have, because for me, there is no reason why John Cena, they put him on Saturday Night Live, but there's no reason why we don't have other wrestlers on Saturday Night Live. There are plenty of guys. I would have loved it if the New Day was on Saturday Night Live. Why not? They should be there. They're clearly capable enough, and I think they're more talented than Cena. So there's plenty of, let's have some female wrestlers too. For obvious reasons, Alexa Bliss, but I do wonder how Becky would hang on it, or other wrestlers. So a lot of these things I either think are skills that could be trained, or they're problems with booking. I don't put them on the guy. I understand that the fans, you're saying that the fans' standards have dropped. I hear you. I don't necessarily agree because I just think the failure is in WWE. Because I look at Okada. I don't understand what Okada's talking about. I have no idea how he is on the mic. I don't understand it. I get the inflection to a degree. I know, when he had Gato, I can read the subtitles, but he is a rock star. He comes out there and you believe this guy is larger than life just by looking at him. And that's something that not everybody does in WWE. When we see certain wrestlers, I don't want to, dump on people, but there are some wrestlers come out there and they don't look like rock stars. They don't look like larger than life. Okada, you get it that this guy is a superstar. He's a megastar. You get it just from looking at him. A lot of guys in WWE, you don't get that out of. I never understand what AJ's coming from. AJ's an interesting guy, man. AJ Envoy, he keeps it fresh. And sometimes I don't agree with him at all. Other times I understand his point. And, we can discuss some things and, and sometimes we agree. But so I don't think saying our standards have dropped. I think it's what we're given has dropped. That's what I want to point out to. But in terms of in-ring ability, our standards, I think, have raised. Because guys like The Rock, Hogan, they would never make it in today's WWE. The fans would eat them apart. They've explained the it factor because that can't be taught. The true it factor can't be taught, no. But there's certain presentation that you can deliver on. The translation from NXT to the main roster is a brilliant example. You get a guy like Bobby Roode, super over in NXT and also in TNA, and not just because of the gimmick it factor, but then when they brought him up to Raw, not so much. Audience size is a big thing when you see there's some guys who get over better in smaller crowds, and then there's some that are in larger crowds. There are also certain ways to present a guy. When you make an introduction, because we forget that not everybody watches NXT, and we forget that now they have around 2 million subscribers, if I'm not mistaken. That's only 2 million subscribers, and we need all 2 million of them to be watching Raw, which a lot of people watch Raw aren't those 2 million. Some mention on Raw, but used as a job. That's depressing. People are still complaining that China should be talking about. Oh, people should be happy being recognized. Stop crying, people. I agree. People should stop crying about the whole thing because it has. But for me, as I've said before, it has no value to me. You disagree about Rollins to what degree? But so some people do have that it factor. Some people just ooze charisma naturally. They're just naturally gifted in front of a camera or a microphone. That's true. But in the superstar presentation, it is partially the look. But then when you move up to the main roster, is how they present you. How are these audiences going to first see this wrestler? How are these fans live going to be first presented to these wrestlers? Even let's just say everybody is an NXT fan. Remind them again. Remind them again why this guy's dangerous. Because Kevin Owens, NXT, he came out like a monster. The pop-up powerbomb was like almost murdering somebody. Doing it on the apron, killed Sami Zayn for 2 months. And then he comes up the main roster and he's cowering in fear to Stephanie, Mrs. McMahon, if that's okay. And it's like he's not the monster anymore. So that's the kind of thing. When everyone comes to the main roster and they're either kissing McMahon ass or they're having matches where they lose all the time, when this guy was just a champion 2 seconds ago, how you present these guys matters. It's why in a lot of superhero cartoons or superhero movies, when they introduce a new superhero that's been in the comic book forever, the guy usually runs buckshot on the entire team. Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Every time they introduce something new, like Black Panther they introduced him by beating up Captain America or taking out the team. They introduced Vision. Vision takes out the whole team. It was their standard playbook plan. Is that too much? Yes. Was it too obvious? Yes. But every time they bring someone out to the team, they just run buckshot on them, take down the entire team all by themselves. And if they do that to establish, whoa, this guy is awesome. And I get it, but you have to do something along those lines for WWE. You can't just say Sanity is coming, wait forever, bring them on, let them job, and then keep them off TV for another couple of months, because then no one's going to care. WrestleMania 35 is going to be lackluster, probably, but it's been, so. Gagne NXT. Gagne XT. It's only about the work rate. Why is 205 Live? If it's only about the work rate, why is 205 never talked about? Because 205 Live originally started with that Vince McMahon shtick. Okay, and I didn't say it's only about it. Again, we're talking about standards in different directions. So when you talk about star power stands for star power trap, I can understand that, but I don't put the faulting on the wrestlers or even the fans. I put it on booking. But I said our standards for work rate has gone up. In-ring work has gone up, and they have. So I didn't say it was just about the work rate, but 205 Live didn't around because of presentation, and you want to say it was presented poorly, and that's what matters. Yeah, presentation is a huge factor again. It's not just one thing. It's never just one thing. If there's anything I have talked about on this channel a lot is that nothing happens for, almost nothing ever happens for just one single solitary reason. Things normally happen for a variety of reasons. Because of his size, and he oozes charisma, feels like a big deal when he comes out, and as fans in the palm of his hand. My issue is we're taking too much to work rate, doesn't draw, and forsaking charisma. I get you. I don't think people have traded in charisma and mic skills and presentation for work rate. I understand that it feels that way, especially if you are within the wrestling fan base, specifically on the internet, because I do talk about this, that the internet, we are a small section of fans. We are not, casual fans make up the larger base of wrestling fans, whether we want that to be true or not. We don't get listened to as much, even though we're very vocal, because we don't make up the biggest demographic. So when you look at us, we have a specific internet fan, and you are too. We look for specific things, but we don't represent the biggest portion of the pie, and at least I don't think we do. So the casual fan, those guys, their standards are about the same. They really haven't changed much. They don't think about wrestling as in-depth as we do. Furthermore, when we want to talk about your casual fan and what they like, not all of them care about work rate. So I don't think their stance has changed. But if you want to talk about us, the internet fan base, or the super smarky groups, yeah, we kind of always thought this way. Even before the internet was a thing, and before independents were as big as they are now. There were always guys who said they wanted to see Bret Hart pushed over Hulk Hogan. There were always guys who wanted to see the smaller technical wrestlers over the big superstars. That ain't nothing new. There were always your wrestlers who wanted to see your Jerichos pushed instead of your Austins. Those people always existed. They're not new. This is not a new phenomenon. And we're not sacrificing anything because guys like me, and again, don't think in absolutes, want to see the perfect blend. We want to see the guys who have the right look, guys who have the right charisma, the guys who have the right work rate. I want it all. All right. I like Braun Strowman a lot, and Braun Strowman is not one of the best in terms of mat technician. No one's going to confuse him with Dean Malenko. But I also did a video about this, AJ Envoy, when we talk about just must just stand out. Was death was fine. Still, he wouldn't be the center of my company, though. And I agree with that, AJ Envoy. But I already did a video about this. Statistically, when you look at money throughout all of history, there is precedence to say technical wrestling actually does draw fans. It does make money. In England, specifically, people came in for technical wrestling. Technical wrestling was considered good. Your good guys were just, your blue eyes were just considered technical wrestlers. Mexico, technicos and rudos. Technical wrestling was what got guys over. There's a lot of precedence to say that. Bret Hart himself has even said when in doubt, they fall back on wrestling. When the flavor of the month, hot shot, whatever, when the storylines got too big or too sexual or too violent or too crazy, and they have to tone it down, WWE will always reset to a wrestler. When the celebrity fails them, they reset to a wrestler. It is no surprise to me that after Brock Lesnar's over, they're wanting to go to Seth Rollins now. Because sooner or later, they don't do it all the time, but they will do it later. Do a shout out to the IQ Wrestler later date. Shout out to IQ Wrestler, and take it easy, Mylon. Thank you for being here. Always crack me up. It is a mix of things. You can't separate into one. So are you talking about current WWE, all-time WWE? Let's go see what Base Up said. Who's your ideal Central Star company? Okay. Hey, Dave, I'm going to attend WWE Money in the Bank. Cool. Hartford, Connecticut. I'm thinking about making a Nose Wrestling sign. Join Swerve's great channel. Thank you so much. That would be amazing. I remember how big of a deal it was when Wrestle Talk started seeing And Wrestle Talk has been awesome to this channel, especially in the beginning. How big of a deal they were when they caught a sign on TV. So if the moment ever comes where, because all the times I go to wrestling shows, I'm always in a spot that no camera's ever going to find. But if that ever comes to the case where I get to see Dave Does Wrestling sign brought by a fan, I will be very, very happy that is one of the benchmark signs that I made. So I would appreciate that very much. Why did WWE disrespect Finn Balor? So Finn Balor straight up lost the belt now. They're probably going to set up Finn Balor having a WrestleMania moment. That's my guess. Wrestling sells, not mic skills. Both do. Both really do. You cannot deny it. It's undeniable that both of these things sell. You have plenty of guys who got over just by having mic skills. Rock got over. Rock sold, and his wrestling is nothing to write home about. But then you have other guys who really made a name for himself. Well, I don't know if Milan's not here. And for what it's worth, Verne Gagne, he could wrestle, and that's what got him over. Punk gets way too much credit these days from Smarks. I'm a big CM Punk fan myself, but because I like his combination of wrestling and mic work. He doesn't have the right size, but that's a big part of it. And plus, his frustration also echoed a lot of Smart frustration, so it's going to make sense. Why did they disrespect Finn Balor's IC champ? Probably because they're stupid. I don't know. The reason being is I would have to make an excuse for those top guys to beat other guys. Think about it. Small guys always got to cheat or do something like that. Not necessarily. Hulk Hogan was as big as they come. By that, he's smaller than Andre the Giant, and no one ever questions him beating Andre the Giant. Macho Man was smaller than Hogan, and, well, okay, Hogan got the better end of that deal. Still, you believed Macho was in the fight. Sting, smaller than Hogan. You believed there was a fight. Size is a factor to a degree, but you don't have to make an excuse, and the smaller guy doesn't always have to cheat. There are plenty of times where the smaller guy can just win. And if you tell the story right, you can do it. AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar, to a degree, Daniel Bryan and Brock Lesnar. Well, it's not exactly the same match. AJ going and neither of them won. The story they were telling with AJ Styles and Brock Lesnar, if AJ had won, no one would have questioned it. You change your tune. I don't think you changed the tune. Everyone in WWE now are just regular guys. They don't stand out. Oh. Dave, how would you feel if I took a pic of CM Punk while holding... That would be amazing. Are you kidding me? Of course I'd mark out. I hear people talk CM Punk was the... Yeah. He was definitely a guy that we were looking forward to. He had a lot of the tools. Even if WWE had big guys with no charisma, no mic skills, no gimmicks, they won't stand out. Well, that's true. Not the rule. Most bigger guys will beat the smaller guys in most aspects of combat sports. Casuals love entertainment. Yes. It's true to agree, but you can see sports all the time. The biggest guy doesn't always win in football. The bigger guy doesn't always win in boxing. I mean, Muhammad Ali, George Foreman was definitely bigger and stronger than Muhammad Ali, and Muhammad Ali still won. It happens. I get it that statistically, but again, this is storytelling. This is, silly. This is like, fictional writing. It doesn't have to, you just have to feel it. Being buff and being beef will make it stand out to make sure. I get what you're saying. Somewhat disagree. Punk has been getting critique since his departure. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't think Punk is getting too much. I don't think Punk gets too much credit. I don't. I think he's about right. Ace Up, do you think Manny P could beat Mike Tyson in a fight? Tyson's not necessarily a big guy, though. Like, yeah, he's a bigger weight class. But, hey, remember, Evander Holyfield had to go up in weight to get to Tyson, and he won. So, how's that? Well, not really. There's a lot of small guys that can beat bigger guys. Yeah, it's not as uncommon as you think. Yeah, speed is a big factor, too. Absolutely. Yeah, and isn't Pacquiao bigger than Mayweather? I could be wrong about that, but Yeah, there's plenty of examples where the size is not the factor. And it also depends on how dramatic it is. Yeah, Rey Mysterio versus The Big Show, you're going to have to tell a pretty convincing story. But Brock versus AJ, perfect. And there is a sizable difference there. Very small guys can win sometimes, but it is an exception, not the rule. Big guys usually means better prime body types. That is debatable, Holyfield one. Yeah, I know, Arthur. I'm just trying to give an example. I'm not so good with the real sports, so when I get an example, I gotta cling on to the best one I got. So, but even that one I know because I actually watched those fights. Do you think the New Day should be considered the best tag team of all time? I think they're in the argument. I don't think they should be considered only because of certain factors that it's okay. I'll just let's have this conversation. Let's do this. So for me, my favorite tag team of all time is the Dudley Boys, and I feel weird about this because I don't always think it's a criteria, but I do. I'm just going to say this. Extreme wrestling, or as many people call it, hardcore wrestling. I don't like saying that's a criteria. I don't like saying that you have to go to this realm for you to be considered a good wrestler, because I don't think that's true at all. I think there are plenty of wrestlers who never had to go to the extreme, and they're still great. However, the things the Dudley Boys did is why they're up there for me. You could make whatever comments you want about it, but they were innovative with their tag team maneuvers. They were innovative in how they wrestled as a tag team, and they also incorporated a lot of foreign objects, and they made it more of an art form than most people do, than most tag teams or wrestlers in general do. You could, I know it's not for everybody, but that's how I view it. So I don't want to penalize the New Day, and New Day have done it, but not on the same level as the Dudleys. That's not even close. So while the New Day have gone down the rail, I don't want to penalize them for it, but I still kind of do because of the Dudleys. You know, I like Legion of Doom. They were not Dudley levels, but they're my number 2 tag team, but they're there. But then also they have the Eliminators, Saturn Kronos. They're my third favorite tag team. So you'll notice a certain pattern with my tag teams were guys who really delivered beatings and took beatings. That's really what I like from a tag team. So I do believe you can make a case for the New Day, but I can't put them over the Dudleys. That's for guaranteed sure. I'm not putting them over the Dudley Boys. But that's for me personally. Yeah, Manny was bigger than Floyd. Also, Evander Holyfield had a chin made of vibranium. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. And Pacquiao still lost, and I thought he was bigger than him. And Evander Holyfield had a chin made of he great. Yeah, I'm not arguing that, but I believe smaller than Tyson. At least he started out smaller than Tyson. I don't know when they actually fought who was bigger. I think it was Tyson was still bigger. But yeah, you can make the argument all the time about size. There's just way too much evidence behind it. Say that size really isn't as much of a factor as some people think. For some of the guys you say size doesn't matter, why have weight classes to begin with in real fights? Why separate? Again, because there's a degree of it. Rey Mysterio, Big Show, yeah, there should be a size difference of it. Does size give you an advantage? Yes, but it's not unsurmountable. Why can't John Jones fight someone like? Well, I don't know. I don't know who those people are. So, Dave, why do smart fans beg WWE to push smaller, technically sound wrestlers where there have always have promotions like ECW? Where there has always been promotions like ECW and Ring of Honor for that. Whoa. I wouldn't say ECW always pushed smaller guys. I don't know if that's the case. But they want WWE to do it too. WWE, for better or worse, is still the biggest, grandest stage of them all. Just how it is. And with that being said, we have to remember certain things. We have to remember that bigger paychecks, bigger audience. And so when we see a guy that we really like or has done so much work and worked so hard in this company or that company, if they finally get their shot at WWE, we want to see them get there too. And it's just it's natural for whoever your favorite wrestler is, big, small, whatever. This was even true down in with the Southern company, Southern Promotions, where there were guys who were really big in like the AWA or companies like that or promotions like that, and they were really big, and then like Kerry Von Erich, and then they get to WWF and they don't get pushed. It's natural for someone to say, I identified more with this wrestler, I saw a lot of this wrestler, or this particular company was one I watched a lot, and I liked this wrestler in this company. And it's perfectly natural to want to see them get pushed when they go to the other big company. And when they don't, it's natural to get upset about it. It's just common sense. People who were heavily invested in NXT, and they personally like NXT more. They like NXT, they watch NXT more because they like it more. If they didn't like it more, if they didn't like it, they wouldn't watch it. So they like NXT. Then they see a guy in it that gets pushed. Now, they like NXT, so obviously they're going to like the guys that get pushed most of the time. When that guy goes to the main roster, they're going to want to see him continue to get pushed. And when they don't, they get mad. It's just common sense. This happens all the time with NWA, AWA, Memphis wrestling, everywhere. There's tons of people still upset that Jerry Lawler never got his due. Meanwhile, the dude has won a bajillion championships. I did a video where I covered every permutation I can, which was very tiring work. I worked very hard on that video. And yet, they never won one championship ever in the WWE. Not even a hardcore title. I know his disdain for that kind of wrestling, so I'm not surprised. But that's the thing. It's a perfectly natural reaction. So when you say, why do all these fans want to see? Why do all these fans want to see their favorite wrestlers get pushed? Because they're their favorite wrestlers. Of course they do. And so for guys who don't like those guys, who don't watch those promotions, don't watch smaller indie promotions, and just watch WWE, or guys who do watch those but they like bigger wrestlers, they say, no, bigger wrestlers should get pushed. Of course they're going to say that. That's what they like. Everyone wants to push what they like. You almost never hear anybody sit there and say, I can't stand this dude. He represents everything I don't like about wrestling, but he needs that WWE championship. Nobody says that. I occasionally say things like it, but I don't say that. I am the first person to acknowledge when something is making money or something has potential, even if I don't agree with it or I wouldn't do it myself or I don't necessarily want things to go in this direction. When it proves to be a big enough draw or whatever, I normally say go with it. Undertaker versus Sting, not one of my dream matches at all, but I perpetuate the idea that if I was WWE, of course I'd give the fans that dream match because so many people want it. You have to go in that route. I think stylistically it's a nightmare, especially at the age where it would have been possible for those two guys. I definitely I never saw the appeal of it, other than they're both dark and gothy. But here's my other thing. I look at Sting I still think of him as Surfer Sting, so I forget that he's like a dark gothic character. So I believe in you giving the fans what you want. It's understandable that people are like that, but it takes a true businessman or someone who can stand outside and step away from the product and say, this is what needs to happen, regardless how I feel about that way. And my biggest example of that is Vince McMahon himself, because a lot of people say Vince McMahon is not that he's racist or that he hates other companies, it's that he only understands to push what he understands to push. He likes big guys. He likes superstars. He likes certain types of wrestlers, and those are the types he always wants to push. And then when he gets a wrestler that has an accent, or he gets a wrestler that's from the South, or he gets a wrestler that wrestles in a way that he's not accustomed to or he doesn't get, he forgets that there's a fan base and a market for it, and he does sometimes he does, but most of the time he doesn't look at it that way and just says, I wouldn't push him. And he ignores that this guy got over in this company just by pushing him or booking him in this way, and you could too. He doesn't look at it that way, he just thinks about it as, I don't get it, so he doesn't push it. That's what has been said about Vince McMahon. I'm not saying that he is or is not anything. It's just what I've been told. Alexa Bliss just announced she will host WrestleMania 35. Uh-oh, she's hurt. So, but we must understand that there are 6 to 9 million people tuning in during the early 2000s and the late 90s now. How about 2 million? See my point? That is not falling off because of our standards. Our standards reflect that because here's why I believe that to be true. This is why I believe this to be true. It's because as the standards drop, as the ratings drop, the only people left are hardcore fans, or by the real definition of hardcore, meaning a hardcore dedication to wrestling, are people like us. We're watching. So while we were drowning in a big sea of casual fans, and we were a very small vocal minority, now we're taking up more of the real estate because there are less casual fans. So what we want to see, you're hearing about it more, is because we're a big chunk of the people that are still around, where that wasn't always true. So I think it's Southern wrestlers that Vince actually likes. The only Southern wrestler He just does. I don't even know. I mean, I think he pushes him, but I'm not 100% because he makes some money. But I'm not 100% sure he even likes him. I mean, he might, but I don't think he loves him. He likes him enough. I'll put it that way. Yeah, but I don't. No. But I don't think casual fans left because we got louder or they were catering to us. Casual fans left because of all the stupid mistakes WWE has done. All the nonsense, all the Triple H, big guy, overpushed. Is he charismatic? Yeah, but he's not the guy, and he was never supposed to be. Overpushed him. Overpushing certain guys. Like John Cena, big guy, good on the mic, has some charisma. I like John Cena just fine, but John Cena was not the guy to shove down people's throats. And when you keep doing it and then fans turn it off, you get what you... This is exactly what's supposed to happen. This was going to happen. The casual fans were not turned off because of the smaller guys getting pushed. They were turned off by your Triple H's, your John Cena's. And your Roman Reigns is, in my opinion, or the way those guys were booked, the way those guys were presented. I'm not even going to say necessarily all of them. Although Triple H, I think it's his own fault because he is booking. But those are the reasons why casual fans turned off. It wasn't because they were pushing. They started pushing guys like CM Punk as a reflex of the fact that they realized the only people they had left were people who wanted to see Punk. It never would have gotten to this case if they didn't keep pushing guys that didn't belong in the main event. And it wasn't like Triple H. And it wasn't because of his mic skills, and it wasn't because of his size. It was just because he's not the guy, he's not a good enough wrestler, and he's not good enough as a... And it wasn't a lack of presentation. They presented him as fine as they could, but it was a lack of a lot of other things. Do you see Brian Zane's Reign of Terror Triple H video? I do, yeah. Yes. I don't know why I said do. So big guys who rely on just their size and looks is better. I don't agree with that. These play smaller guys with no mic skills or charisma or character. They rely solely on their ring skills. Do have a lot to do with the ratings. No! Again, I don't think so. I look at the ratings tank. Well, unless you want to say Shawn Michaels is one of those smaller guys that take the ratings. Because if that's the case, I agree. Because I do agree with that. But Triple H really tanked the ratings. I think he's the biggest reason why the Attitude Era ratings tanked. It was because of Triple H. Edge, tall, skinny. But I blame Edge too. I blame John Cena. I blame Triple H, John Cena, Edge, and recently, yeah, I know we should be nice to Roman Reigns, and again, it's not how, I don't think it's him as a person, but guys like that, I say, are the reasons why the ratings dropped. Casuals were turned off by those guys. And Edge is the skinniest one out of all of them. For the most part, they're all big guys. And like John Cena is freakishly huge, and he's freakishly strong. What did Tim Castillo say? It's weird. I wanted to go, but this conversation has really gotten my attention. No, it isn't, AJ. The business is doing better without them worldwide. Doing better without who? I think you might have misread that. No, it isn't. The business is doing better without them worldwide. Yeah, outside of WWE, wrestling is doing much better. That's, if I'm reading maybe I'm reading your comment wrong, Tim. But from what I understand about your comment, it's that yeah, globally the business is doing better. WWE is in a different realm, but if you look at all these other promotions, New Japan's doing better than it ever has been. Ring of Honor is doing pretty well. All these smaller independent companies are doing well. Alexa Bliss really that bad in the ring? I don't think she's as bad as everyone says, but I acknowledge that she's not good. I acknowledge she's not Becky Lynch. That's true. Not every small guy can wrestle. That's absolutely 100% true. And I never said every 250. Did? I think there's miscommunication here, and people do not understand what's being said here. No, there is a miscommunication, but it's actually both ways. But this always happens, too. People polarize everything. If you say, especially on the internet, if you say, hey, I think that this is okay, and it could be better if maybe they tried something slightly different, people will say, oh, that means you hate this! Or, you 100% love that. People will push you to the extremes. They will eventually make their situation black or white and just put you to the absolutes. That's all they do. That's what the internet does. It's the telephone game. Like that telephone game where you speak, like whisper something in someone's ear and they pass it around and you find out how the sentence changed. That's what internet arguments are like. You will say, I like this, it could be a little bit better. And then in 10 minutes, it'll be, you hate this, you've always hated it, you're the worst person ever. And that's how it goes, but that goes for both sides. To be fair, Vince gave Edge the ball and he ran with it. But I don't think he brought in ratings. I'm not complaining about Edge's run, per se. And I understand it to a degree. But they utilized him too much. Like after the Matt Hardy thing, he was public enemy #1. Of course you give that guy attention. Of course you give that guy a push. You couldn't buy that kind of hatred that Edge got. You couldn't. But you don't give him, you don't have him and John Cena go at it over and over and over again, where the belt's monopolized by either Randy Orton, John Cena, or Edge. You don't do that. You mix it up because people like for this thing called variety. It's a question. What needs to happen to bring casual fans back? I believe it's possible. I think the wrestlers they have need to be treated like superstars again. Not just in the WWE term, but they need to represent and not have outside celebrities as their draw, because it doesn't work. I did an entire video proving statistically this outside talent and celebrity stuff is nonsense, and it doesn't work to bring mainstream eyes to the product. If you just look at math and pattern recognition and just use common sense, you'd understand that your biggest problem, WWE, is that you don't treat your wrestlers like celebrities anymore. You rely on outside celebrities. And those outside celebrities will leave you. They always have, or they make you pay them a ridiculous amount of money. So it doesn't, so you lose a lot of the money that they might bring in, and it doesn't even bring in that much. We need guys, yes, do we need charismatic guys like The Rock and Austin and Hogan? Absolutely we do, AJ Envoy, but you can't bank on them either because those are freak anomalies. And the fact that we had charismatic guys like The Rock and Austin at the same time is even bigger of a freak anomaly. However, you can't train a lot of wrestlers to get to that level. There's a lot of techniques, acting techniques, to get people there. And unfortunately, since we lost Dusty, I've noticed a drop in the mic work because they used to teach, charisma and mic skills in the Performance Center. And we need somebody like that again. And Dusty is one of the best of all time. There are many people say he is the best of all time. So I understand that those are big shoes to fill. It's not easy. And the other problem is guys like The Rock, guys like Austin, guys like Cena, who would be the next understanding guy, because feel however you want to feel about them, but I think it's clear that they can all convey a message on a microphone. They're all busy doing other things. They don't hang out in the Performance Center teaching personality. So when I look at it, I say who should be training it? Who's the guy that they could probably get to do it? I wouldn't mind it if it's The Miz in a couple of years. I think Christian should be the guy right now. Even Jericho's not around, and Jericho would have been a great guy to teach personality. But you don't have a lot of old-timers who are on the way out or retired who are amazing on the mic. So if you were looking at guys from the Attitude Era, who's left? Like, who are we going to pull in to teach personality? Val Venus, because that's not good enough. It's nowhere near as good. The Godfather, nowhere near as good enough. Christian's probably your best bet. I think Christian is the best you're getting out of it. No one even cares. Thank you. The team push smaller guys or guys that look regular. Well, you are going to join us on Wednesday. Get the occasional Jeff Hardy in that group. Jeff Hardy's not a draw to me. I get he has a place, but he's not a draw. And he was never a main event guy as far as I'm concerned. And nowadays, to me, they're both in the same boat. Plus, there's a shortage of bigger guys, in my opinion. I think more big guys. I think to a degree, bigger guys are just. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I think with the way, I don't know. I mean, I hear you. There's a shortage of big guys, but I'm not sure if there is really, or they just don't hire as many, or big guys just don't want to be wrestlers anymore. I'm not sure. Do what made them big in the day. Good stories, good wrestling, and character. Yes, Iron Monkey. I completely agree with that. It's not just that there's a lot of big guys. WWE looks in these. Well, also, and here's the other thing. Since the steroid trial's over, a lot of guys aren't naturally that big. They took help to get there, and I'm wording it nicely. And that is a no-go in today's society, and that's for the better. So we also shouldn't have a lot of big steroided guys because that's bad. And if it means our wrestlers get a little smaller, because asking somebody to be 6'7" and 300 pounds and ripped to shreds is ridiculous. It's not easy to do. You know, oh man, I forgot the guy, but there's a German dude who did this talk about WrestleMania. He was talking about WrestleMania 15, and he talked about how if you keep being exposed to something, sooner or later, to perversion becomes the norm. He talks about people would enhance the bodies. And he talked about WrestleMania and enhanced bodies, and he says you just get so used to it, you become used, it becomes the norm, and it's the perversion that is now the norm. Now, I don't necessarily, I hear his point, but I'm not endorsing or going against what he said. But the idea is that you can be introduced to anything, and sooner or later you just come accepted it. If there is a 20-year gap where all wrestlers look like Johnny Gargano, believe it or not, there's going to be a generation of kids that grow up who just think that Johnny Gargano is what wrestlers look like. And as older people go away, they're not going to have as much of a voice to correct it. So it's just going to be, okay, wrestlers are 5'9" and weigh 180 pounds or whatever Johnny Gargano weighs, and that's just going to be the end of it. Kane was best on the microphone. Rodepo. Jericho is too busy being. Oh, jeez. Didn't go there. WWE doesn't do homegrown talent now. They do. It's just the results aren't so great. Enzo Amore, homegrown. All right, Super Armrek, thank you. Got to fix some stuff at work. Hey, I totally understand that. I meant to go a while ago, and I'm just still rocking out here. Braun, Keith Lee, Lars Sullivan. There's some guys. Yeah, there are. Oh, what about Matt Hardy to teach? He works in his own vacuum that he works in. He's good, but I think it is. I am not sure that he could teach everybody. Because let's look at it this way: he couldn't teach his brother. Expect to train what at the Performance Center? How to get friends in the high places? Okay, IQ wrestler. I don't even know what that is, but yeah. Having big guys isn't best for business. And you can make that understanding too. So there's only so big and ripped that these guys could possibly be without steroids. Like, you're going to notice, without using steroids, you will notice a decline in size, mass, and definition. It's definitely that's definitely a factor. Try to push big guys in the mid-2000s. Most of them sucked. Road Dogg could teach. Not the worst answer. But see, the guys I want to teach are I want people who are not as niche. I want people who are more universal in their mic work. Based up, I disagree. I don't think he was great on the mic, and that's just in general. Scott Hall's not a bad answer. But Scott Hall, again, was a guy who was wrestling in the business forever, and until he ripped off Scarface, wasn't a guy who got a lot of attention. So I'm not even so sure about that. But charisma is a thing. Yes, some people are born, but I think you can be taught. Mike's the same thing. Been a draw if he was 6 inches shorter, 100 pounds lighter. I think he would. If he was 6'1" and, well, okay, 100 pounds lighter is depending on the time period. If it was 200 pounds, all right, that's pretty lean. That's cute. Do you think Undertaker would have been as much of a draw if he was 5'9" and 210 pounds? Well, no, but not necessarily. He's not one of the biggest draws either way. And also, when it comes to The Undertaker, a lot of this stuff is the gimmick. It's how they're booked. That's what I'm talking about. A lot of it is the gimmick. You don't give a gimmick like The Undertaker to a smaller guy. Like if I was going to call a guy Bulldozer, I want to give it to a guy who's 5'5". It just wouldn't make any sense. Unless I'm trying to be funny in that, hipster way. Ric Flair's feuding with Triple H. And there you go. Ric Flair, huge draw. Not a big guy. He's not small, but, I mean, come on. Ric Flair is one of the biggest draws there ever was. Hogan would have been Randy Savage size. So, yeah. He would weigh less than Savage, but, yeah. Because he was 275, and if you break him down to 175, that's pretty low. At 6. So, like, once again, easy, Arthur. I'm not saying that. Again, it has to do with the gimmick. If you have a guy who looks a certain way, you go over this a lot in acting, that people go out for, unfortunately, television is a very visual thing. So we base a lot of what we see, but a lot of our judgment comes from what we see. And I understand your point there. But it doesn't mean that size is always the answer. There are guys who can get over being smaller. Jerry Lawler, not a big guy either. And Jerry Lawler was very over in Memphis. You could make the argument that maybe that doesn't work for a national or global product. But there's rumors to say there is a lot to suggest otherwise. Nakamura, maybe not now, but was a really big draw. And Nakamura is not a big dude. He's a really skinny guy. He doesn't have a great physique, but he has that larger-than-life character. He's a celebrity. He is somebody that you gravitate towards. WWE is dropping the ball with him, but all of his nonsense, goofy stuff, all of his eccentric personality, that captivates people. Great body? No, absolutely not. Jake the Snake Robertson, little guy, great charisma, terrible physique. It's really not the size as much as you think. And the point is, you have to have guys who are 10s or 9s or 8s or something like that, but they don't have to all be that in one category. If a guy is like a 6 with looks, but he's a 10 in ring skills, then yeah, he goes up there. If a guy is like a 5 in terms of ring ability, but he's a 10 in personality, yeah, that can get you up there. That can make up the difference. So that's what it is. It's how much in what category can you use to beef a guy up? That's what it has to do with it. This is the most concise way I think I can put it. I'm not talking about... Yeah, but AJ Envoy, I think you should join the Discord after this. I definitely got to wrap up, but I will be on tomorrow for the Dave Knows Comics live stream. Be there, draw along session. We also talk about a lot of other stuff too. Have a lot of fun conversation. It's like this, but you also get to watch drawing. So check me out tomorrow for the Dave Knows Comics live stream. And thank you for being here. Thank you for the likes. Base Up, thank you for the super chat as always, because you are so generous. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And as always, Dave knows.